What's going on, friends? It's Anton Daniels, and I gotta have a conversation with you guys about Teach Henley because you see how the sun is hitting me. This is no finesse, no makeup, no filters, no none of that. This is 100% Teach Henley. I use it in the morning as soon as I get up, right after I pray and brush my teeth, jump in the shower, and I'm hitting the streets because you never get a second chance to make a first impression. So even though they're giving you 40% off your first order, 20% off for life, even though you may get a free gift, forget all that, right? Because we would do this even if it was full price because it's worth that much. I'm in the streets, I'm kicking it with people when I see Dusties everywhere. You don't want to be them. You want to separate yourself. And the way that you separate yourself is self care. Ladies get it for the fellas. Fellas don't wait for the ladies to get it for you. I'm about to hit the streets right now and I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling great. I mean, I already got confidence, but to have that extra boost of confidence, knowing that you've taken care of yourself and you set yourself apart from all of the rest of the sheep that's walking around making bad decisions on a daily basis. And it's reflected in their actions. It's reflected in the products that they use. It's reflected in the people that they follow. And so if you're trying to level up, if you're trying to make sure that you look good, they're going to send you the pack. They're going to give you all of the instructions on how you're supposed to use it. Then make sure you get your Teach Henley. Again, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. Get your free gift. Make sure you tap in with your boy Anton Daniels because Unc is never going to lead you wrong. I would never have you use a product that I don't use myself. Again, they've been rocking with me for a long time. Make sure you get your Teach Henley. I love you. I appreciate you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning in for another edition of the Millionaire Morning Show. I'm your host, Anton Daniels. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What's going on, good people? We in the building. What's happening? It is Monday, September 22nd in 2025. Year of our Lord. What's happening? How y'all feeling on this Monday, man? How are y'all feeling on this Monday? Y'all feeling good? How was y'all weekend? Gemini predicts. How can Gemini predict what I'm going to hit? Uh, how can Gemini predict what I'm going to... Treese, don't you start. Don't you start. What's up, Lady Candy? Talking about you thought you was late. Nope. We all on time. We're all on time. Right on time. Have I seen the new Meta display glasses? I have. I have. Got the new 17 Pro Max. Congratulations, 392Q. Bubbles is saying that they feeling blessed. Rod on Politics in the building. U.S. Navy in the building. We got a full show for y'all today. What's happening? So much be happening over the weekend. Kirsten D says they have been productive. Amazing. Got out and touched grass. Finally got to catch the morning show, said Brittany Ellis. What's up, your car? Done sharpen up the beard, I see. Yeah, we good. We back. We back. Better than ever. Listen, ladies. Listen. This is what it is that I've come up with. All right. This is what my general sentiment is. All right. Because some of the people was like, Anton, you should have stayed with the Silver Fox. I look at it the same way that I look at my daughter, right? And I tell her all the time. And she's recently thanked me for it. I tell my daughter, I used to tell her all the time, I said, listen, never rush. Enjoy your youth while you have it. Don't try to get a job. Don't try to do this. Don't try to do that. Don't try to grow up too fast. And then recently she said, Dad, I'm glad that you told me not to grow up too fast. That's not relevant. The relevant part is what I'm saying next, right? And The sentiment behind that is that you got the rest of your life to be an adult. You got the rest of your life to be grown. You got the rest of your life to work. You got the rest of your life to have to deal with headaches and problems and issues and trouble and all of the things that come along with life. And so I look at my beard the same way. I got the rest of my life to be gray. I can be gray the week after next, the week after that, the week after that, the week after that. I'm not ready. Jerry, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And so I like black on black on black, baby. Black on black on black. So that is what you see me as today. You know what I'm saying, OG Rihanna? Kirsten says plenty of great with his minds. Man, we were told that and didn't listen. Facts. Facts, Brittany. Wasn't we? We said, listen, I know I was in a rush. I was like, yo, I'm trying to go get this money. I want to get a job. I want to do this, what it is. My daughter is much different. But I will say this though. The one benefit and the one difference between the way that some of our kids are growing up versus some of the ways that we were growing up is that we didn't have a whole lot, you know? And so when we started to grow and mature and hit puberty and stuff like that, a lot of times we was ready to step outside. We was ready to hit the deck. And so I'm very thankful. I'm very blessed that my daughter does not have to endure through some of the things that I've endured through. And that's why we here. That's why we here. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up to everybody in the building? I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for continuing to rock with me. Let me say this. We got to get the housekeeping out of the way. You got your first supervisor job, Phil? Congratulations. Let me give you a round of applause for that. Congratulate you, Rush too, Keita. If y'all haven't known, let me get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way, and we're just gonna jump right into the show because we got 8 subjects to go through today. And so we gonna be cooking. All right. We gotta cook today. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the housekeeping out of the way. So first things first, Q show is tonight. So the Q show on the After Hours channel. I'm gonna change that into room 9. I was so busy over the weekend, so I didn't know what to do. I was pulling my hair out. So the Q show is popping tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to come in and tap in with the Q show, let's get it popping. Let me see where I'm at as far as subscribers on the Anton Daniels channel. Studio. I had some pretty big YouTubers hit me up this weekend. This thing is growing like crazy, bro. I thought it was going to slow down. It's not. I'm hot. I'm hotter than fish grease right now. I've been hot for months. So that's where we at currently. We at 9:57. So we're roughly 42.5. 42.466. 42.466. We're doing about 74 now. 74 million views every 28 days, 3.1 million watch hours. We're growing at about 115,000 subscribers every 28 days. I thought it was going to slow down, but it's not. It's just picking up more steam. And so they said, we want Anton. We want Anton. We want Anton. We want Anton. So first of all, let me just say I appreciate everybody that was here from earlier times. Maybe some of you wasn't necessarily here from the beginning, but a lot of y'all was here in earlier times. So I just want to say I thank you guys. I appreciate you. It has been an interesting year, to say the least. I'm not giving any speeches because I'm not there yet, but it has been an interesting year. It's been a very, very interesting year. And yeah, man. What up, OG Rihanna? What up, Osriel? What up, Chris? Courtney Egger Show. Keish. Market is going crazy right now. Shout out to the bag chasers. Let's get some more housekeeping out of the way. If you're not a part of the Patreon, the link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. We over 1,000 people now, so it's time to go ahead and get it popping with the show. If y'all not a part of the bag chasers, you should be. We had an incredible live stream last week. We got an incredible live stream coming up this week. Make sure you tap into the Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description of the most recent video inside of the Patreon. I've been going through and cleaning up some things. I did some organization. I just locked in, honestly, this weekend. I just locked in. I went and got my daughter's oil changed, cleaned up some stuff, toured some houses, tried to buy some more properties, got some stuff on deck. So I'm just ready, man. Grande says, I discovered you through crazy Kevin Samuel. Shout out to the people that rocked out with me to discover me. Shout out to the people that didn't like me when they first ran into me, when they first discovered me. And then eventually they stuck around and they said, I don't want to be Dusty no more. I don't want to be Dusty no more. Shout out to the people that discovered me early in the earlier. And then shout out and welcome to all of the people that's new. Again, if you're not a part of Patreon, make sure you do so. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off of life. And yeah, man. The wave. It's all about the wave. Yo, computer, think you black, you get all black creators in your feed. I think I joined the AD community when Jay Prince first appeared on Fight Club. Oh, you've been here for a while, see? You found me through the lead attorney. Q show tonight. Glad I found your channels, AD. And shout out to everybody. I love black people, white people, everybody, man. I just love y'all. All right, y'all. Been there since 2023. All right, so this is what we're going to do. Rocking out on the Anton Daniels channel. That's going to do what it's do. We're not focused on that now. Starting in October, we're going to really start the deep dive, and we're going to improve this channel. We're going to improve After Hours, and we're going to start vlogging again on Darth Anton, all right? All right? Let me read some of these super chats. I see y'all said Payroll Giovanni. That's been on my playlist all weekend. If not me, then who? That's the name of the album. If not me, then who? Now we got all of the new people like LeBron. LeBron James is all on the wave. Shout out to Benjamin Fox. Says, I enjoy your content. Yeah. On Cash App. And then my dog, Mike That Dude. Mike That Dude been riding with me for a long time. So shout out to Benjamin Fox. Shout out to Mike That Dude. Jay Hunter Lee, my guy, says, good to see you, brother AD. What up to my dog, Jay Hunter Lee? Thank you, my friend. Equal Opportunity Smoke says, salute. So Tylenol with pregnancy causes autism? I don't know what you're talking about. I know Trump made an announcement about autism, but I didn't see it yet. I didn't know if y'all wanted me to review that on the Millionaire Morning Show. Yannick, what up to Yannick in the building? Appreciate you for the 50 balls. Says new payroll Giovanni is sanitizing the atmosphere of the Dusties. Join the bag chasers. Negative, 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 negative. Shout out to Yannick. I appreciate you, and shout out to everybody that continues to hold me down. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm looking forward to kicking it with y'all today. All right, let's get into it. So we got a lot to cover today. Rules of the chat. Rules of the chat for all of you that may be new. Rules of the chat. The rules of the chat is thus. We don't censor anybody. We welcome everybody that's from all walks of life. Don't matter what you look like. Don't matter what your gender is. Don't matter what your political affiliations are. Don't matter what side of the country you in. We welcome you in, and we encourage you to engage, especially if you disagree. But 2 things. Number 1, no spam in the chat. We seen you the first time. All right? Come up with a new thought next time that you put in. Second thing, number 2, no major disrespect. I don't put censorship limits on the chat, but don't talk about people's wives and husbands and kids and going crazy and using too much profanity. Like, come on, let's balance. We grown. We grown. We know how to communicate effectively without being disrespectful. All right. All right. Jennifer, you late. I caught you. Jennifer, I'm watching you. I'm watching you. And then I'm going to continue to read super chats throughout the show because I'm absolutely enamored and appreciative of the people that support the platform. It's not required, but I just appreciate y'all. My dog, Mr. Bibbs, in the building says, good morning to everyone. Hope your weekend was good. Carrington Love Jr. says, I started following the pastor time after he smoked yada in the name of Jesus. Oh, my weekend. Can I tell y'all about my weekend? Can I just spend like 1 minute and 30 seconds telling y'all about my weekend? I'm not going to go into details. I'm not going to give y'all no details. My weekend was very emotional. It was emotional. For all of the ladies and for all of the people that don't know, Anton Daniels is a very, very, I'm an emotional person. I'm very emotional. And so when things happen and life events go on and all of that stuff, I get emotional. But joy cometh in the morning. I just want to encourage y'all. And the reason that I'm saying it is I just want to encourage y'all that I know that it's people that go through stuff and we put our best foot forward when we kicking it with each other and when we online. But I know that y'all go through things, right? Right? Financial things. I know y'all go through relationship things. You go through things with your job, things with your kids, things with your friends, all of that type of stuff. Whatever things is going on in your life, let's spend the next 2.5, 3 hours having a good time. And know that after you get done mourning, right? After you get done mourning, life goes on. Everything works out the way that it's supposed to. And the reason that you are going through whatever it is that you're going through is so that you can prepare yourself for the next chapter that's happening. All right. So I just wanted to encourage y'all with that. My dog, Call Me Tazzy, in the building. He pulled up. What up to Call Me Tazzy? Shout out to the bag chasers. Shout out to the chasers. If you're not a part of the Patreon, you should be. I got an upcoming live stream this week. It's going to be dope. It's going to be dope. All right. It's going to be dope. You was told by your mom you was whitewashed? Aw, that's not cool. All right, y'all. Well, let's start the show off with this before we jump into this whole funeral because it's a couple different speeches that I wanted to go over with you guys. Erika Kirk, and I also wanted to go into Tucker Carlson. Okay. We also gonna go over to Chicago. They got budget problems, bad budget problems. People getting pushed on the tracks. They suspending bus services. They getting threatened to be pulled federal dollars away from that. We got to go over to Indianapolis. 15 people been shot. Rich people are leaving New York and going down south. What else we got on the docket? Let me see what else is on the docket. Ilhan Omar, disrespectful towards Charlie Kirk and his family. H-1B visas. Trump is charging $100,000 for that. We gonna get into everything, all right? So I'm gonna try to cover as much as I possibly can that we missed over the weekend. I'm almost thinking that we should be doing this 7 days a week, but I gotta have some time to myself. You know what I'm saying? But before we get into the whole procession at Charlie Kirk and me giving you my thoughts and my commentary now that we have a significant amount of people that's in the building, I want to talk about this. No, I'm not necessarily talking about the fact that he has on a bonnet. All right? That's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the general sentiment and the pulse of how people, liberals in particular, seem to be feeling. And maybe we can relate to some of it, maybe not so much. But the general sentiment of how people seem to be feeling. I want to start my Mondays off this way because I want to try to get an idea of where people at, what their mentality is, how things are, right? And so let's start off with this gentleman. This is Man with a Bonnet.
I no longer want to be alive. This is not a ploy. This is not a hook. This is not anything for entertainment purposes. I do not want to be on this planet anymore. I'm tired. I'm tired. Gas is high. We could barely afford groceries. We could barely afford rent. Why do I need to make 3 times the rent when there is no job out there paying me 3 times the rent? And if I need to break the lease, I have to pay rent plus a month or so, or 2 months the rent. Lights are high. Gas is high. The gas bill. Existing is expensive. You have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to have a child. But we need children to keep the future of the human race progressing.
Y'all so catty. I see this gonna be one of them type of shows, huh? Y'all are so catty. I'ma just say that right away. Y'all so catty. Talking about that's my little sister. This is bro, this is supposed to be a sentimental thing, a pulse check, an idea of what's going on in the streets. Who said that's my little sister? Y'all are a mess, man. Y'all are a mess. Let's continue. Let's go into what he got to say, y'all.
I'm ready for God to come back. I'm ready for Jesus to return. I'm tired of being alive on this planet. People are rude to you on the internet for absolutely no reason. I just saw a video of pilots, military pilots, getting arrested because
Yo. All right, I'm going to stop it there and then we're going to get to the rest of the video in a second. He said, people are rude to you on the internet. When this video was first sent to me, I was thinking to myself, because the first thing that he said is, I don't want to be here anymore. I don't want to be alive. And I was like, oh, and I was feeling some type of way. He was looking like Omarion, had his Omarion braids on or whatever. And then he started putting on a bonnet. And then I started twisting my face up a little bit like, Then he started talking about 3 times the rent. Why do I have to afford rent at 3 times the rent? Well, if you paying half of your income towards rent, that means that you can't afford to live there. And so they want to know that you can actually afford to live in a place so that they don't have to go through a process of kicking you out. And then they have to go through the legal process. So anybody that goes into whatever living situation that you rent now, you should make 3 times the rent, right? You shouldn't be spending more than a third of what you make on your housing expenses. No. Are we all on the same page? Then he said this. Let me rewind a little bit.
alive on this planet. People are rude to you on the internet for
People are rude to you on the internet for no reason. I would have y'all to believe that you do not have to post on the internet. They would hate to be me. They would listen. People like this would hate to be me. Hate it. They would hate to be a relatively decent sized content creator because, boy, the emails and the videos that y'all send me every single day, y'all know y'all don't have to keep sending me videos. Like I got it the first I got it the first time. Anton, like, look, 50 people may talk about me over the weekend. I got you. I know it. Like, that's what happens. That's what come with it. Y'all do not have to send me 1,000 video. I get 1,000. Look, like, it's cool. I'm good. I got you. I heard it the first time. So we good. But these people wouldn't want to be me because this is what we do. Like, this is my business. This is what it is that I'm into. If you're not a thick-skinned person, then you are going to be a cupcake. Maybe it's because I was born in the 80s and raised in the 90s that I got a different sentiment. I don't know.
absolutely.
And if y'all feel like you are getting bullied on the internet, you know what you can do? Shut the computer down, close your phone, go hoop, Go do something. Go get some box. Go smoke. Go have a good time. Go to a concert. Catch a flight. Do anything. Go to a picnic. You know, you don't have to worry about what people are talking about on the internet, right?
No reason. I just saw a video of pilots, military pilots, getting arrested because they didn't want to bomb innocent people. This video might get flagged. Y'all may not even see this, or more than likely it's going to get suppressed and it's only going to get maybe 75 views. Not 7,500, not 75,000, 75 views. Now, what I
His
did
mama
see
son.
is
That's his
that,
mama son.
y'all remember when Sonic was coming out and everybody was like, we don't like this, go fix it, right? And then they delayed the movie and then they fixed it. They did the exact same thing with a different movie. I can't think of the name of it right now. They were like, we don't like this, go fix it. Then Jimmy Kimmel got fired. That good old white man on that nice TV, late night TV. Y'all boycotted Disney and they lost $3 billion of revenue across Disney Plus, the theme parks, Disney merchandise. They lost $3 billion.
Now, this is how I know that people are just taking talking points from the internet. The more that he spoke, the more that I realized that the real sentiment amongst people is that they have no clue what's really happening in the world. The more that he spoke, the more that I realized that some people have no clue on what's happening in the world. So I'll give you an example. He said, and Disney, across Disney parks, across Disney theme, lost $3 billion in revenue. It didn't. It lost $3 billion in valuation. There's a difference. There's a difference. Not that I'm sticking up for Disney because I don't really care for Disney like that, but there's a difference. You remember how Tesla lost a bunch of money off his valuation, but then it bounced right back once people got off of Tesla protests and they start protesting immigrants or something like that again. There's a difference between valuation and revenue. Revenue is the amount of money that's coming in. Valuation is the amount of money that you're worth. All right? So we got to be very careful on the words that we use because when y'all get on the internet and y'all start saying stuff, it shows me that you're listening to what other people are saying and not necessarily doing the research for yourself. But let's continue.
Taxation is theft. Okay? Taxation is theft. They tax the money. There's no law that requires us to pay taxes. And if there is one, I've yet to see it. Now, take taxation, right? They take your check, they tax you for what you made. If you make $1,000 or so, $1,100, they take about $240 from you, give or take a few tens of dollars, right? So they tax you on your paycheck. And then when you go and buy something with that money, they tax you. Again, it's called sales tax. Medicaid, Medicare.
The reason why you guys are so heavily taxed is because y'all want social programs like Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps. You want to subsidize different governments. You want to give money for free out to people that don't necessarily deserve it. You think that everybody deserves health care. Well, guess what? Somebody got to pay for it. It usually comes out of the pocket of those that make the most money. That's what happens when you're a liberal. Republicans believe in smaller government. Y'all wanted to give USAID. You want to have a bunch of people in federal jobs. Well, guess what? It comes out of taxpayer money. It's got to come somewhere. Somebody paying for it. There's nothing free in this country.
The healthcare system is what is being taken out of your check, right? But you still need to have insurance
Facts,
to be able
Chris.
to afford healthcare. And healthcare does not cover dentistry or eyes. That makes no sense. Are they not a part of my health?
I would have y'all to believe this also. When I left corporate America again for the second time at the end of 2024, literally my last day was, I think, December 31st, 2024. And now I have a concierge doctor, right? Meaning that I have a doctor that is basically there whenever it is that I need him and can come to my office. He'll make a house call, do whatever it is that they got to do. I would have y'all to believe, and this is why y'all need to do y'all research. And also, we need to reevaluate this whole Obamacare situation. Because what I've realized in buying the things that I need, if I need to get a prescription and they write it for me, or if my daughter need a prescription or something like that, what I've realized is that even the copays are more than the actual charge for the prescription itself when I just buy it over the counter. It's crazy. It's cheaper. Like, I was looking at, and I went back and I looked at all of the money that was coming out of my paychecks, right? Because I had the best insurance, best dentistry, and all of that stuff. And I was looking at it and I said, so I'm paying for dental coverage with Delta Dental. And when I went to the dentist and I just got a regular cleaning, it actually cost me less to just get the cleaning and take care of my teeth than it did for me to actually get the coverage through Delta Dental and then pay the copay. Paying for eyes, right? That comes out. Then you go and you do the copays and all of that stuff and get your prescriptions updated on your glasses. And then I went and I got my eyes done and checked and all of that. And it was just cheaper for me to just pay out of pocket. Like your own HSA plan. Now, if you got some huge medical issue or something, I feel you. I get it. I understand it. But for most people, especially when you can start doing preventative maintenance and you can eat differently and you lose weight and you start to detox. I was all on watermelon all this weekend and stuff like that. And I was just thinking to myself, the real scam is the fact that we have to pay for healthcare coverage sometimes, or we haven't really been given an option otherwise.
See, it sounds like I'm everywhere, but I'm in the same ballpark. I'm tired of this. Everything is high. Nobody, you banded together, people. Y'all banded together against Disney and the Sonic movie. Let's do taxes next. Let's do taxes next. Let's do student loans next, because that is definitely a scam.
Yo,
College
I ain't even gonna lie. Bonnet is bothering me too. I'm trying to look past it.
scam. Insurance companies. Why
Student loans are not a scam. You do not have to take them out.
in the world am I paying you full coverage? Full coverage. I'm paying between $200, $300, $400 for two cars, full coverage for 2010 vehicles, old vehicles. Why is insurance that much? And then you're not covering when I crash my car. Somebody hit me. You're not paying for that? That seems scamish.
Yeah, the smacking is killing me too, A Wyatt. Listen, it's a lot of things that we don't like about this video, but we trying to get through it. Again, remember, I am capturing the sentiment of what's happening out here with most people. That is the whole purpose of this part of the show. All right?
To me, there are so many other things, a plethora of things that I could sit here and vent and complain about, but I'm tired. And then they tell you, oh well, go and do this, go and do that, and you'll succeed. Just climb that ladder. Climb that professional ladder. You'll make the money that you need to make to survive. We can barely survive. We're barely surviving. People are depressed, suicidal. People are frustrated. There are unicorn jobs out there that are really paying people, okay? But everybody doesn't have access to those jobs. Everybody's not getting hired for those jobs. I am tired of being alive. And if I didn't love God, if I didn't love Jesus, if hell wasn't on my radar, I would be out ski. I'm going to tell y'all that right now. Hard work doesn't pay off. Doing the right thing doesn't pay off on this planet. Just recap through all the stuff that I said. I ain't never talked this long on TikTok.
All right, that's enough. All right, we got the sentiment. All right, I wanted to make sure we got through the whole thing. My reaction to this is this. Life is hard. It gets easier when you make the right decisions. Put on a helmet. Or lower your costs, get another job, man up, and get on your grind. Now, I know that it's going to be a lot of cupcakes out here that say, oh my God, but Anton, we should all just be able to get everything for free and live in a socialist environment and country and all of this stuff. Do you know that we live in the easiest time ever? Even when I see people say, see, man, back in the 60s and the 70s, houses was this, grandpa, he didn't have to pay as much. Do you know how hard it was to work in a factory? The turnover rate, because see, I'm from Detroit, the turnover rate of people that actually never even made it to their 90 days and just quit, cold turkey, just quit, and just went and got a regular other job. They didn't want to work on the factory floor or any of that type of stuff, was astronomical, because you didn't have robots. You didn't have all of this other stuff. It was hard. When I first got my job inside of the steel mill, it was hard. The jobs back in the day, you had to go into the office every day because we didn't have the internet. We didn't have social media, right? We didn't have AI. We didn't have all of these different tools and robotics and machines and these jobs where you sit inside of an office or at your home every single day. And we didn't have men that wore bonnets. Men were men. And guess what? Life was just life. And you fell wherever it is that you got it out the mud at. And if you just didn't make it, then you just fell off. And that's just the way that it is. It was called natural selection, all the way back from hunter-gatherer, where if you didn't go out and kill something, then guess what? You, your family, your kids, and your tribe starved to death. Wasn't no safety nets, wasn't no social services, wasn't no real structure to what's happening inside of the government, wasn't any of that. You eat what you killed, and then you had to fight off the king that wanted to bust down your chick and get first rights to her. Life is easier than ever, but I get it. I get it. People go through stuff, and every generation is going to feel like they got it hard regardless of how easy it is. Here's the thing, and this is my general sentiment. I believe that today we have weaker men than ever before. I see them sometimes in the chat. I see them on the internet. And now that I'm starting to get men crying with a bonnet on the internet, that bothers me. It bothers me. It really does. We have so many cupcakes. So many cupcakes, man. It's like, bro, what do you care about bullies on the internet? What do you care about Jimmy Kimmel getting fired for if you ain't got no money in your pocket? What do you care about whether or not Disney lost $3 billion? What do you care about this? What do you care about this? Like, bro, first rule. First thing that you got to do is self-preservation. You got to get yourself together before you start paying attention to everything else that's going on around you. I don't have time to be focused on what anybody else is doing until I get my own things in order. I'm not focused. Like, I can be aware, but I'm not focused on what you got going on. I am focused on what it is that I got to do so that I can join the conversation once I have some opportunity to do so. We have to have stronger men, and I don't know where all of this feminine energy is coming from, and everybody, I think it's a whole bunch of stuff. I think it's this liberal movement. I think it's therapy. I think it's fairies. I think all of that. I think all of that, honestly. Like, even because we all got emotions, right? We all feel some type of way. But even this weekend, something pissed me off, and I was thinking to myself, my first reaction, and this is not a good thing, my first reaction is, oh, okay, everybody dying. Everybody got to go. Oh, you pissed me off? Okay, it's hell on earth. And then I talked to Jesus. Not saying that that's actually a thing that I was going to do. That was how I felt. Like, oh man, it's time to go hard. Let's go crush everything. Everybody got to go. Then my second reaction was, we don't make decisions based off of emotions. We get our logic. We make decisions based off of logic, and then we get it together and we start focusing, right? My point is this. It's so much feminine energy and behavior. I just can't relate. I don't know if it was just that I was born in a different era, but it seems like the sentiment of the world is cupcake behavior. Cupcake behavior. I don't know what it is, but we got to get our stronger guys in order. We got to get stronger men in order. Make sure y'all hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Let me go ahead and read some of these super chats, and then we're going to go ahead and get into the show. I had $170,000 surgery in March. Copay was $800. Equal opportunity smoke. Let me ask you a question. And congratulations that you only had to pay a copay. Let me ask y'all a question. Why? The real question is, why was surgery $170,000? Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, surgery was $170,000. What kind of I don't want to ask what kind of surgery it was because I know that's personal. 170 bands for surgery, bro. That's so much money unnecessarily. Shell Shock says, when the last time you heard from Kay and Kayla? Who? I don't even know who that is. Thank you, Shell Shock. I appreciate you. Queen Weechi says, loving the beard, Mr. See, I knew you was going to love it. I knew you was going to love it. Yeah, don't give me too many compliments because I'm going to start feeling myself. Chase Barnes says, happy Monday, ADM peeps. I can't take a man who is wearing a bonnet seriously. Facts. Agreed. Jay Hunter Lee says, I just made it back from the gym. What the hell did I just see? When y'all sent it to me, I said, I'm going to share this with the people. This is the sentiment of what a lot of guys is talking about. I thought I was suicidal. I look in the mirror and said, stop acting like a B.I. Don't worry. I know. Daycares, churches, Anton is not cursing. I'm taking care of business. Shout out to the bag chasers. Let's get this money. Melkor says, Anton, to be honest, I think the black community is lost. Keep trying though. Oh, listen. I don't even think it's the black community. I just think that that's how it is in America right now. Vashawn King, what up, Vashawn? Says, Anton, thanks for keeping it 100 on Patreon. You told us what to do, and you show. I am your tough love is making me push harder. I appreciate you, bro. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. And make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Nice date, by the way. Oh, you like this Melkor? This is the rose gold. It's the rose gold joint right here. You know what I'm saying to me? Oh, did we do watch of the day? Let's do watch of the day. Watch of the day is the date. Rose gold. It's beautiful, ain't it? It's beautiful, ain't it? That's the rose gold joint. All right. That's the watch of the day. Maybe watch of the week. I don't know. Maybe we'll do the watch of the week. So that's what I'm on. He said it's an American thing, Keisha. We're going to figure it out, though. We're going to get these guys in order. We're definitely going to get the men in order. But until we do, what was that? 1, 2, buckle my shoe. 3, 4, gotta lock the door. 5, 6. All right, y'all, let's get into this whole Charlie Kirk funeral thing. First, one of the things that I thought was pretty awesome was the fact that Trump and Elon Musk, it looked like Trump and Elon Musk kind of...
Mr. President, everyone's saying that Charlie brought you and Elon back together. Is that true?
Well, Ilhan came over and said hello. No, it's nothing to do with that. I thought it was nice. He came over, had a little conversation. We had a very good relationship, but it was nice that he came over. Dana White was there, the great Dana White. You know, the big question is having the...
So, if anybody was paying attention or if anybody was on the internet over the weekend, you've seen that Charlie Kirk probably had the biggest funeral procession that I've ever seen in my entire life. For a regular citizen. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that wasn't a dignitary, somebody that wasn't a president or something like that. Charlie Kirk had a massive funeral. But it also, what I've also noticed that just like in regular life, because these are regular people, regardless of what their net worth is, his funeral brought people together. His funeral brought people together. But prior to that, Tucker Carlson had an opportunity to speak. And so this was some of his speech.
That made me emotional. Made me emotional to see that. Susie Wiles had tears in her eyes, which you don't often see in politics, but it's real. This is the most unbelievable thing I think I've ever seen. And I don't... What?
That's crazy. Are y'all looking at that? That is crazy. Some people live their whole lives. Before we get into Tucker Carlson's speech, some people live their whole lives and ain't worth two dead flies. Not worth two dead flies. Some people live to be 70 and 80 and 90. And some people even live to be 100 years old, and they have no value on this earth. No value on this earth. This man was 31 years old. 31 years old. 31. Brought out the who's who. Had a whole stadium of people. The whole stadium during his funeral procession. My goal on this earth is to leave this earth in a better space had I not been here. And I'm not saying that all of us can have the impact of a Charlie Kirk. But what I am saying is this should be motivational. This should be inspirational to do the right thing, be on top of things, and be a game changer. Let me get into Tucker Carlson's speech.
Whatever happens next in America, I hope it's in this direction, because God is here and you can feel it. And Charlie would have loved this, not just because he loved large groups of people, but because ultimately he was a Christian evangelist. And it actually reminds me of my favorite story ever. So it's about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up and he starts talking about the people in power, and he starts doing the worst thing that you can do, which is telling the truth about people, and they hate it, and they just go bonkers. They hate it, and they become obsessed with making him stop. This guy's got to stop talking. We've got to shut this guy up. And I can just sort of picture the scene in a lamplit room with a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, thinking about what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking.
If that's not the truest thing and the most motivational thing, and it don't have to be a preacher saying it. I seen Jamal Bryant say some blasphemous stuff the other day, and it just confirmed the speech that I gave y'all last week about Jesus, and he was saying some crazy stuff about it. But if that's not the realest statement that you've ever heard in a long time, I don't know what is. You had a man who came into flesh, right? And his entire existence on this earth was to A, preach the gospel, B, be the blueprint, and then C, be the comforter, so that he can change lives and then make the comforter available to the Jew and the Gentile alike. Now, I'm not going to give y'all a whole Bible study right now, but in a general sense, that is the life of Jesus, right? But that's not the point. The point is his entire life, since his inception, since his birth, they were trying to kill him. Let me say that again for the people in the back. For his entire life, the entire time that he was on this earth, since a baby, people conspired to take him out. Did not matter how right he was. Did not matter how much truth he preached. Did not matter whether you was a Pharisee, a Sadducee, even a disciple. Betrayed him. And the lesson in that is, shout out to my girl Molly. Shout out to my girl Molly. I'm definitely going to read that shortly and make sure that I acknowledge everybody that support the platform. The lesson in that is this. It's not always going to go your way. Everybody is not going to like you. You are going to say some uncomfortable truths, and they are going to tell you that you hate black women. You are going to say some uncomfortable truths, and they are going to tell you that you are a coon. You're going to say some uncomfortable things, and you're going to be an equal accountability partner and smoke giver. And they are going to wish death upon you and wish divorce upon you. And they are going to say some of the nastiest, ugliest things, even though it's the truth. And it doesn't matter whether it's your truth or my truth. The truth is the truth. And everybody that is living in righteousness has a purpose. And so what they are going to do to you, regardless of whatever your purpose is, even if it's just to be the patriarch of your family, or you are supposed to, as a lady, be the support of your husband and they call you a pick-me, or if you say, you know what, I want to give my life over to God, or you say, I'm no longer going to treat people racist, or I want to be a person that loves everybody and is not necessarily focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion, or whatever you stand for in a positive light, if you are hated for it, then that means that you are persecuted for righteousness' sake. And it doesn't stop. It's always happened. And this example is the perfect example of it. You're not special. You're not the exception. You are only going to be special after you fulfill and you complete your purpose, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be comfortable here doing it. So what you are going to have to make up in your mind is that this is the way that I'm going to go regardless of whether or not anybody is coming with me, because this is not a group activity. Salvation is individual.
And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I could just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Everything is inverted, and the Beatitudes tell it, I think, the most crisply. Everything is sort of the opposite of what you think it's going to be. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. That is true, and you can feel it here.
Eric D says, why are we comparing Kirk to Jesus? Eric, I thought that you were smarter than this. I would like to believe that as intelligent as you are, and some of the things that you say, that you would be smarter than this. Is this a comparison to Jesus? No. This is using Jesus as an example to say that people are going to be persecuted when they do things that other people are uncomfortable with, even if it's the truth. Is there anybody that can compare to Jesus? No. But he said, be ye therefore perfect. That means that you're seeking perfection every single day. If we are not Christ-like, which is what we're defining ourselves as when we say we are Christians, then that means that Jesus is the litmus test. He's the comparison. Like, he's the person that we're using as the benchmark for how you're supposed to live your life and modeling. That's what the word is. It's the living word. And so if you have something to gauge yourself after, then that's what you do. But people purposely misinterpret what you're saying in order to try to be disingenuous about the conversation and divert away from the fact that the truth is the truth, regardless of whether you agree with it or not. And so y'all gotta be smarter than this. Y'all are wiser and you're smarter than this, and you're being intentionally disingenuous to try to divert away from the truth. And the truth is that he was a good dude, and in 31 years, he's probably accomplished, Charlie Kirk, in 31 years, he's probably accomplished more than most people that live 80 to 90 years old. And his funeral procession, and not only that, his reputation and the content that he left behind, and Turning Point USA and all of these different organizations that's trying to convince young men and people to get back into masculinity, get back into church, make sure that you worship God, make sure that you put God first, make sure that you take control and care of your family. These are the pillars for having great communities and being conservative. His legacy speaks for itself.
The thing about Charlie's message, I've thought a lot about it, and I'm trying not to be emotional because in addition to everything else, he was a wonderful man and a decent man, and one of those rare people you meet who you just groove with in conversation and have these very intense conversations that you don't stop thinking about, which is my experience with him. But the main thing about Charlie and his message, he was bringing the gospel to the country. He was doing the thing that the people in charge hate most, which is calling for them to repent. So how is Charlie's message different? And Charlie was a political person who was deeply interested in coalition building and in getting the right people in office because he knew that vast improvements are possible politically. But he also knew that politics is not the final answer. It can't answer the
Y'all so easily distracted by the dumb stuff. It's so ignorant. It's like, is there anything that you can do or have a conversation about to where we be like, you know what? I could see the message, or I could see what you're emphasizing, or I could see. It's like everything. There's people in this chat that intentionally try to say dumb stuff. They'll come up with, like, you would think that in this speech or in this message that most people would catch it and most people would get it. And it's like, so wait a minute. Y'all don't understand it every single time that somebody we talk, no matter what the subject is, for the most part, y'all don't get it?
deepest questions, actually. That the only real solution is Jesus. And the reason, it's really simple. Politics, at its core, is a process of critiquing other people and getting them to change. Christianity, the gospel message, the message of Jesus, begins with repentance. Christianity calls upon you to change. Our core prayer given to us by Jesus, the Lord's Prayer, demands that we forgive other people, but preceding that is a request for our forgiveness. In other words, forgive us our sins, meditate on what we've done wrong, how we've fallen short, and then it becomes possible to forgive other people. That is a call to change our hearts from Jesus, and that is the only way forward in this country. That is the only solution to where we all know we're going. And Charlie knew where we were going without that. And that is not a call for being politically passive, of course not. I stood on many stages with Charlie calling for various people to be elected, particularly Donald Trump, and I'm proud of that. It's only an acknowledgement that what Charlie was really saying is that change begins, the only change that matters, when we repent of our sins. We, me. A recognition that the real problem is me and how fallen I am. And that was the reason that Charlie was fearless at all times, truly fearless to his last moment. He was unafraid, he was not defensive, and there was no hate in his heart. I know that because I've got a little hate compartment in my heart, and I would often express that to Charlie about various people, and he would always say, that's a sad person, that's a broken person, that's a person who needs help, that's a person who needs Jesus. He said that in private.
You know what I'm very glad of and I'm thankful of is that we not mincing words no more. You know, one of the things that really bothered me when I went to some of these non-denominational churches, they always tried to appease and make everybody comfortable instead of just calling it what it is. And very few people actually wants to acknowledge or even say the name Jesus. This whole situation, it kind of gave me hope, because when you start to see all of the people that stood up at certain parts of this whole funeral procession when certain words are mentioned, I said, wait a minute. Maybe it is more of us than I thought. Maybe it is more believers than I thought that it was. Maybe it is more people that actually want to turn their life over to God. We get bombarded so much every single day with all of this demonic behavior on a regular basis. And it's so much promoted in the media and diversity, equity, and inclusion and laws and infrastructure and all of these different things that is created for people that live like heathens every single day. And I was just like, you know what? All right, I'm with it. I'm with it.
Because he meant it. So I guess I would just say this gathering and God's presence, God's very obvious presence in this room, the presence of Jesus, is a reminder of what we've known for 2,000 years, which is any attempt to extinguish the light causes it to burn brighter. Every single time. So as we proceed into whatever comes next, and clearly something's coming next, remember this moment. Remember being in a room with the Holy Spirit humming like a tuning fork. This is the way. Right here. This is the way. And that is what Charlie Kirk was saying underneath it all. Thank you, and God bless.
I thought that Tucker Carlson did an incredible job. I thought that Tucker Carlson did an incredible job. You know, growing up, and I'm going to read some of these super chats, and then we're going to go over to Erika Kirk's speech. Growing up, because I grew up in a time where, you know, we didn't really have the internet and stuff like that. And I also grew up in the church, right? Pentecostal and evangelistic church, you know, the black church. And so you would think that based off of your demographics and the fact that you was only, you know, familiar with your city, again, we didn't have social media. I didn't get on a plane until I was in my late teens. It was almost like the world was only as big as your church, or is only as big as your neighborhood, or it's only as big as this. And so you would almost be left to believe that God only talks to black people, or God only is prevalent in black churches, or Jesus is something that's only mentioned amongst the people that you congregate amongst. And it wasn't until I got older and I started visiting other places and other churches and other church homes and stuff like that, even in other states. And a lot of them were also white churches that they be praising God and they love Jesus just as much. It was so tripped out to see for the first time, but then also to see it acknowledged on a national stage with the president and everybody else that was there. It's refreshing. You know, it's refreshing. It's a reminder that you're not alone and you do have brothers and sisters. This is the biggest fraternity, sorority organization, whatever it is that you want to call in the world, regardless of whether you agree with it or not. And maybe that's why they're trying to tear it down so much. I don't know. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to continue to rock out with the show. Molly, shout out to my girl, Molly. Looking out for your boy on Cash App as usual. Says watching from the clouds, having a great stream. Shout out to my girl, Molly. Yeah, you can catch her tomorrow. Melkor says, wearing my 1977 1675 GMT today. You know what's up, Melkor? You know what? I'm gonna come back to this one. Carrington Love Jr. says, yeah, the men are weakest HE double hockey sticks. I've had multiple semi trucks on the sidelines over 8 months because adding a soft, weak American man to your insurance policy is insane. C. Langley says, my MS, is that multiple sclerosis? Medication is 112 times 2? Thanks, Tricare. That's crazy. Man, God bless you. 392Q says Turning Point USA made an egregious bag yesterday. Carrington Love Jr. says I recently founded an immigration attorney that specializes in connecting U.S. trucking businesses with foreign drivers looking to get a work visa. I'm going to have them on my plantation. Hashtag 1869. Smooth Artist says Charlie accomplished more than people who had double his lifetime, but he can come back and live another 31 years and do more. James Smith says a lot of those black churches are run by Omega Psi's and Alpha Kappas. That's why all wickedness in those churches. You talking about Jamal Bryant? Don't worry about it. We gonna get there. You know what's so funny? You was telling me about the GMT, and I'm looking at this watch or whatever. I was we gonna go into to Erika Kirk. I was actually considering selling everything this weekend. Not during the weekend, but like contemplating, like, man, I just want to start. Like, I was almost feeling like, man, I just need a fresh start. Maybe I just need to get rid of everything, the cars, the watches, maybe even the real estate, and just start over, like just do a fresh start. And I don't know if it's as a result of like about to eclipse 1 million subscribers on the Anton Daniels channel or whatever. But I was just like, maybe I need, and then I was talking to my daughter and she was like, Dad, don't do it. You just feeling some type of way right now for whatever reason. I don't know why you feeling that type of way right now for whatever reason, but Dad, it'll pass. Don't do it. Don't do it. So that's my homegirl. That's one of my best friends. So she talked me off the ledge. She's like, I be feeling like that sometimes too. So yeah. Y'all ready to get into Erika Kirk. All right. Erika Kirk had her opportunity to speak on behalf of her husband. And I'm going to give y'all the cliff notes. And this is a clip from it. We're not going to do the whole 30-minute plus speech, but I'm going to give y'all the cliff notes. This is what she had to say. And this is, I believe, one of the most important parts of the speech. You going to pray the midlife crisis about me, J. Ben? Amen.
That young man on the cross, our Savior said, Father, forgive them, for they not know what they do. That man, that young man, I forgive him.
Look at all of those people. You know how many people were streaming this? You know how many people was in there? You know how many people was streaming this? You know how many people was in there? For somebody right after the person that you thought that you was going to spend the rest of your life with get killed and taken. And to come up and say, yo, I forgive him. Do you know how many evil people want to see war? Do you know how many evil people? It's some right in this chat watching right now, typing in all caps with no profile picture as usual. Insensitive, disrespectful, don't have no kind of regard for human life. You know how many people want war? You know how many people want chaos? You know how many people want to hate somebody else, and so they feed off of that negative energy, and that just absolutely positively pissed them off all the way to pissivity? Do you know how hard it has to be? Probably one of the biggest tests of her life to say, I forgive the person that killed my husband and made me a widow of 2 children right in front of my face. You can't talk about it. You got to live it. But I'm going to tell you that when you get put to the test, it's going to be a whole nother conversation. It made me rethink a lot of things. I had to forgive some people personally that I didn't even realize that I didn't forgive. I had to forgive somebody back from all the way in 2017. Even though that person don't necessarily even care to be forgiven. But forgiveness is for you. It's not necessarily for the other person. But you had to do that. You have to do it in your heart. It's not even just what you say. It's in your heart. And I know some people is never going to get it because for them it's up forever. For them is you don't believe in like we believe. You don't believe in none of this spiritual stuff. This is not real to you. Y'all only want chaos and confusion and ugly and all of this other type of stuff. But I'm telling you, bro, like it's like a burden that comes off of your shoulders when you decide that you no longer want to engage in the negativity and the thing that you've been carrying for the last 8 years. Well, for me, it was the last 8 years, something that you've been carrying for the last 8 years. And then it finally comes to a head and you say, you know what? All of this other stuff that I've been doing all of this time, I forgive you. I forgive you. And it's one of the hardest things that you'll ever have to do. As I will tell you, the thing that you really forgive a person for, it's not nothing small. It's going to be something mad. It's going to be major. It's going to be something really, really big. It's going to be something really huge. That thing that you got to forgive somebody for, it's got to be something big. It can't be a little small stuff. Because we pray, forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. That means if you're to be forgiven according to how you forgive other people, that's the true sign of love. That is the weapon that you have against the devil. And so for me personally, and I'm sure everybody else got their own journey, I had to truly dig deep in my heart and forgive some things. Even when I thought I had forgave it before, I didn't know if I really did or not. So I had to make sure that I did it. But to see this happen in real time is crazy, bro. To know that this is a fresh wound. To see what I saw on X, formerly known as Twitter, done to her husband, and she got up there on stage in front of hundreds of thousands of people, maybe even millions of people that was watching this live stream, and forgave the person that killed her husband. I'm going to go ahead and time out Melkor because I told y'all about the disrespect to other people inside of the chat. Even if it's not towards me, if you disrespecting other people and calling them out of their name and using a hard ER, I'm going to have to go ahead and let you go. So have a good one, big dog.
I forgive him because it was what Christ did and is what Charlie would do. The answer to hate is not hate. The answer we know from the gospel is love, and always love. Love for our enemies and love for those who persecute us. The world needs Turning Point USA. It needs a group that will point young people away from the path of misery and sin. It needs something that will lead people away from hell in this world and in the next. It needs young people pointed in the direction of truth and beauty. And so I promise you today, every part of our work will become greater. I am tremendously honored to be the new CEO of Turning Point USA. I do not take that lightly. Charlie and I were united in purpose. His passion was my passion, and now his mission is my mission. Everything that Turning Point USA built through Charlie's vision and hard work, we will make 10 times greater through the power of his memory. Chapters will grow, thousands of new ones will be created. TPUSA Faith will add thousands of new pastors and congregations.
Now, this is what women should be modeling themselves after as far as the actions and the behaviors, and willing to hold down a person that is doing the work and building a legacy. This is the type of person that you need to be building with. We like to highlight the hoes and the baddies and all of this stuff. And that's just a part of the culture. That's what it is. And we give all of the visibility to all of these chicks that's doing some of the worst in the community. And then we don't show no love to these type of women on a regular basis that's behind the scenes holding it down and willing to step up if anything was to ever happen to you. It's called a help meet.
And yes, campus events will continue. And we will continue to hold debates and dialogue. The First Amendment of our Constitution is the most human amendment. We are naturally talking beings, naturally believing beings. And the First Amendment protects our right to do both. No assassin will ever stop us from standing up to defend those rights, ever.
You're welcome, Winnie.
Because when you stop the conversation, when you stop the dialogue, this is what happens. When we lose the ability and the willingness to communicate, we get violence. And as I stand here now and I look at this beautiful photo of
Have
my
a good one,
husband in front of me,
train wreck.
hanging in the stadium, I think of my husband 13 years ago. I hadn't met him yet. He was 18 years old, a man barely out of high school, running around the halls of the RNC without $1 in his pocket and a single contact in his phone. People who saw him said that he didn't know what he was doing, but he did. He did know what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Thank you, J-Dubs. Yo, that's the realest junk ever. 13 years ago, 18 years old. Hello? Hey, what's going on, Jacob? Yeah, they said that they would contact me later on today, and get me some information. The biggest thing is that, um, you know where my unit is, but my view, and so I'm like, yo, is it another space up there where I can get a different view or something like that? Cause my view, I don't know.
It changed a little bit.
Yeah, it changed a lot. I can't see the Renaissance Center no more.
Got it. So I hear what you're asking. So is it, so obviously the Renaissance Center is blocked on all of our things, but the nice thing is they're knocking it down. So it'll be
No,
gone
no, no.
in
I
May.
got that, but I just can't see the city. Like, I used to look at the river. I used to see the whole thing. It's not. It's just not the same no more.
I got it. So let me do a little research. And I know they're gonna reach out to you. Let me make sure they're taking good care of you. Um, if there may be one other unit that's coming available. It's gonna be a different view, but it's the same size unit that you have, but instead of it being a 2-bedroom configuration.
Yeah. Let me see it. I'd have to see it. Okay. All right. Cool. Yep. That's fine. All right. Bye.
He was going to change the world, and he did. Charlie's life was a turning point for this country. It was a miracle. Let that miracle that was Charlie's life be your turning point
Somebody said, Anton, you complain. I'll address it after this. Don't worry.
as well. Choose prayer, choose courage, choose beauty, choose
What up,
adventure,
Rose?
choose family, choose a life of faith. Most importantly, choose Christ. I love you, Charlie, baby. And I will make you proud. God bless you all, and God bless America.
That was real. That was straight up real. So shout out to her. I heard somebody in the chat said over 64,000 people recently signed up. Um, Lord Controversy says, Anton, did you know that the NAACP is trying to get Turning Point shut down here in Greenville, South Carolina? No, but I do know that um demons demons are working overtime in the name of diversity, equity, and inclusion, and I think that the NAACP needs to be disbanded. Personally, I believe that the NAACP needs to be disbanded. I think that it's a horrible organization. I don't think that it needs to exist. There's no point. All they do is give awards, and then they just advocate for the things that don't even matter, and you don't see them until somebody gets shot. That's black from a white person. I think that the NAACP needs to be disbanded. Honestly, all it is, in my opinion, is a money laundering scheme. It's a money laundering scheme. And when the last time you heard the NAACP help a black person? Who? Who do you know? Name one person that you know. Name one person that you know that the NAACP has helped. You don't know one person. You don't know one person in real life. Not one that the NAACP has helped. Joe, I don't take threats lightly. I told y'all can't do that. Why would you want to give me a wake-up call? I'm already awoke. Look, I'm talking to you right now. Anyways, we don't entertain demons and devils that don't have a profile picture. We just continue to run it up. Make sure you guys hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. Trazix says, you complaining about the view, Anton? What? Yeah, you'll get there one day. I promise you're going to get there one day. Maybe, if you're lucky. If you live long enough, you run it up enough, and you're wise enough, you'll get there one day. James Reed says, we as Christians, we forgive 1 Thessalonians 5:1-6. God will get the ultimate lick back. Shout out to you, James Reed. I like that. I like that. J Dub says, Hakeem Jeffries out here talking about what Democrats will do if they get power back. All the investigations that will take place, no policies or new messaging. But what happens if they regain power? These people are lost and have nothing to offer. They never had nothing to offer. And I appreciate you for the 50 ball. Thank you, my friend. They ain't never had nothing to offer. Raheem says that phone call was low-key motivational. Much love, brother. Yeah, they'll move mountains for you when you spending a check. They'll move mountains for you. Malachi says, you're so woke you don't need pajamas. Hannah, you was crying? I understand. All right, y'all, let's continue on with the show. So now we get to the local news. Now that we've explored what is happening on the international level, now we got to get over to the local news and what's happening locally. Well, I take that back. We do got to get to the Democrats, all right? So here's Ilhan Omar on CNN. I had to mine for this. I had to go and chase this down. This is Ilhan Omar on CNN speaking about her comments, her disparaging comments towards Charlie Kirk. Let's get into it.
Was killed, that political violence is wrong, and that we should work everything within our power to end gun violence in this country. None of us were interested in litigating his life until his supporters and our House Republican colleagues decided to say he was akin to Martin Luther King, who this man loathed. So you invited us into that debate that you wanted to have, that you said Charlie was always interested in. And so you cannot get upset. You can't be mad if people then hold that mirror and say, but here's really who he was. And we cannot forget. It's one thing to ask us to condemn the violence, but it's another for you to ask us to pretend Charlie wasn't who Charlie was.
I'm not sure anyone's asking that. I mean, maybe some people are.
That is what people are asking.
I'm certainly not asking that. But
that is what people are asking. People are asking and are getting fired for sharing Charlie's words.
Well, and some people were celebrating it. That was part of it. But
I haven't seen that. I've just seen people sharing his words.
The level of disingenuous conversation that's being had right now is of epic proportions. The level of disingenuous conversation that's being had right now is of epic proportions. To sit there and say that you have not, because see, the reason why I hate some of these politicians is because they're not even willing to be honest. To sit there and say that you have not seen anybody celebrating the passing of Charlie Kirk is disingenuous. Y'all know one of the reasons why I believe that she's in office is because y'all allowed for these woke policies and for illegal migrants to come over into this country, and then they ultimately took over Minneapolis and Minnesota. Minneapolis will have probably a Somalian mayor. Yo, I said the same thing, Sierra. I couldn't believe that Caitlyn was the one that had to even say something, because Caitlyn is usually the one that Trump is getting on saying that she out of pocket and she out of order. And to know that Caitlyn is the one that got to sit there and check Ilhan Omar and saying, wait a minute, you capping right now, speaks volumes. When you have a liberal CNN Caitlyn holding her accountable and saying, hey fam, listen, now you acting like people wasn't celebrating. Like, even she has enough respect for the dead to actually speak to the truth about what's really happening in this situation.
There was a town hall that you had 6 days ago.
McQuell says, comparing Charlie, McQuell with smoke in front of his face says, comparing Charlie Kirk to MLK is blasphemous. MLK was loved, not hated, a big difference. You a liar. You're lying right now. MLK, I just got into a full-blown argument over the weekend defending Martin Luther King's legacy. It's plenty of y'all that don't like him now, and it was a lot of y'all that didn't like him then. See, that's how I know you don't really know your history, and that's how I know you really haven't studied history. Because Martin Luther King, regardless of how you feel about Charlie Kirk, and this is why I don't take people serious, Martin Luther King was absolutely hated by a large part of the black community and a large part of the white community when he was alive. He was not loved. He was hated, and that's why he was assassinated. Martin Luther King today, yesterday, and the day before had so many ops that looked like him, that did not like him, and actually wanted to see him gone. I see people talking nonsense about Martin Luther King today. Y'all just talking. I'll go one further. If you truly rocked with Martin Luther King, you wouldn't be so hateful in your heart. You don't even live by the principles that Martin Luther King espoused. You hate white people. Y'all talk so negatively about so many people that y'all don't even like, but then the only time that you come to their defense and start to uplift them is when you see other people as compared to them. And so you hate that person more at the time. And so that's the only reason why you start to compare and defend Martin Luther King's legacy. Y'all was just the other day talking negatively about him, and y'all don't even live according to the principles that he advocated for. Y'all don't judge people by the content of their character. You 100% judge them by the color of their skin. Talking about Martin Luther King. What? How dare y'all? How dare y'all? Let me tell you something. I don't see white people en masse having negative conversations about Martin Luther King. I only see it happening amongst black people. Everywhere I turn, anytime Martin Luther King is mentioned, somebody is trying to destroy his legacy. People are saying it right now inside of the chat. I heard he cheated on his wife. Hey, you didn't hear nothing. You wasn't even alive. You didn't hear nothing. You heard a talking point from somebody else that said something to somebody else that played a game of telephone. And because y'all messy and y'all addicted to drama, you try to destroy people's legacies that look like you because you didn't agree with it and you don't rock with what it is that he said today. Y'all so evil. You hate everything and everyone, and that's why y'all don't have no heroes. The only heroes y'all ever have is rappers and basketball players. En masse, I see black people on a regular basis talking negatively about Martin Luther King. So miss me. Y'all don't have nobody that y'all actually rock with unless they talking about selling dope in the community.
Ago, you called Kirk a quote hateful man, and you had reposted a video that I'm sure you've taken criticism for. It's a video that called him a reprehensible human being and said Kirk was Dr. Frankenstein and his monster shot him through the neck. Why repost that video?
Because there were a lot of things in the video that I did agree with. Obviously, we share videos. We don't have to agree with every single word. But I do believe he was a reprehensible, hateful man. Like, that is my view of the words that he has said about every single identity that I belong to. He didn't believe that we should have equal access to anything. He also just didn't even believe I could be smart enough. I could have thoughts that could be equal to a white man. Where are we missing?
Now, Sierra, now you know they're not going to go and look at the full context. They got the memory. Listen, these are the same people that was raised off of Vine. Y'all remember Vine? These are the people complaining right now are the same people that was raised off of Vine. They got 7-second attention spans. They're not going to go watch the full clip. Look, you know what I've realized here? It's no point in wasting your time sometimes trying to convince people or debate with people that use talking points. I don't even cast my pearl to swine. I just be like, oh, okay, cool. I didn't even think you was a fool until they opened up their mouth.
This conversation about who this man was and the things that he said. How do you not find that reprehensible, Caitlin?
Well, of course I don't.
Do you think
I don't
subscribe
have to that? But
do
I
you think I don't have the brain processing power like you or a white man?
Well, of course not. And I know, think it's very clear here that I'm not sharing his views, and I don't
say that
justify
would be reprehensible views?
I think the argument that was being made.
No, but I'm asking
what
you.
We have heard.
What I'm asking you is, would you say
that? Yeah, I understand
that?
What you're asking me.
But you're asking me how could I?
Why is she so combative? Why is she asking a question and then talking over the person once the person is obviously not agreeing with her? Why she start talking? See, even Ilhan Omar, she didn't even watch the full clips. She's spreading misinformation about what Charlie Kirk actually said and what he really meant about that.
Him reprehensible. Like, that is reprehensible. You said it is reprehensible yourself. That is vile, it's reprehensible, and it is hateful.
No, I'm not asking why you think he's reprehensible. I think you're obviously allowed to have your own views. That's why we have you on here so often, because we like to hear your views and what you think on something. I just think it was the video where it called him Dr. Frankenstein and said his monster shot him through the neck. I mean, obviously this is a person, and looking at this is someone who was a husband and a father, and in the days after his shocking death, that happened as a result of his views, or it happened as a result as he was sharing his views publicly with people, that people found it jarring to hear such criticism.
Somebody said, that's completely a lie. CNN should play the video in order to try to dispute her. I don't think that CNN, you got to remember, Ilhan Omar actually went on CNN, and she's a frequent contributor, and she pulls up to CNN on a regular basis because CNN traditionally is a liberal news organization that parades itself around as though they are objective and that they just report the news and then give their opinion separately. Ilhan Omar came to CNN, I would assume, to actually get in her talking points without having any pushback. I would probably bet you that she was so surprised at the fact that she was getting pushback from CNN. And this is one of the reasons why a lot of these politicians, I don't trust them, because they only even go to places that they think is going to agree with them. This is probably the most pushback that she done got in a long time, because right after this, which y'all don't know, is that right after this, she actually went over to MSNBC. Winnie the Bag says, Anton, why give this woman any airtime? Because I have to talk about it from all sides, and I have to use all different types of media to substantiate our point. I'm going to give my opinion as things happen, but I have to present it to y'all from both sides. I don't just show Fox News. I don't just say this or that. I show local news. I show MSNBC. I show CNN. I show Fox News. I show different content creators. I use all different sources to have a conversation, to generate a conversation. I'm going to have my opinion, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to limit the view or the scope by which I have these conversations by only showing one type of media. I have to show you every single side. You have the opportunity to judge it for yourself. I'm going to give you my opinion on it, but at the same time, we don't have to agree. But I have to show it all. Because if you don't get the full scope of it, then that means that we live in an echo chamber.
Of that in the immediate aftermath of
What
death.
I find jarring is that there's so many people willing to excuse the most reprehensible things that he said, that they agree with that they're willing to have monuments for him, that they want to create a day to honor him, and that they want to produce resolutions in the House of Congress honoring his life and legacy. It is one thing to care about his life, because obviously so many people loved him, including his children and wife. But I am not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. That should be in the dustbin of history, and we should hopefully move on and forget the hate that he spewed.
So that's Ilhan Omar with her wild take. It's similar to, look, I'll give it enough of Ilhan Omar. It's kind of similar to when I showed the whole Muslim thing over in Dearborn, Michigan, and the Muslim mayor, and it was a bunch of conservatives that was using it and using some of the clip, and they wouldn't show the entire conversation because I think that they had an agenda. And I don't always 100% agree with the way that a lot of these Republicans that are online is doing stuff. I had to go and view it myself. And so when we reviewed it, I think we reviewed it on Friday. When we reviewed it, I came to the conclusion that I may not necessarily agree with him, but it didn't go the way that they said that it went. There was more context to it. And I don't like the fact that they had cut it off. So I had to actually go to the community meeting to pull it up myself, because there was a lot of propaganda that was being spewed online and people was just repeating talking points. They didn't do their own research. Make sure you hit a like for the algorithm, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications. More Than Mellow says Simpool reported 100 million views of the funeral. I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it at all. Raheem says a lot of our grandparents didn't like Martin Luther King in the 60s. That's a fact. That's a fact. Shout out to my girl, Just a Brown Girl in America. I love this girl. I see you working. You know I know what you got up. I seen you working. 10 toes down. I love you. Met you in real life. That's my girl. You know what I am in real life. We should move to have anyone that is not from America not hold political offices. They have been working from the inside out for you. I agree. I don't understand how these people are able to become mayors and governors and all of this type of stuff. Chase Barnes says, why did she personally make it about her? As if Charlie called her out directly. You know how it is. Because people want to insert themselves into the conversation. Jason Person says, I'm from Minnesota and nobody cares for her or her political views. Now, I have to disagree with you about that, because if that was the case, then she would not have been elected. If that was the case, then she would not be holding office. If that was the case. All right, let's spin the block real quick. Let's head over to Chicago. This is bad, y'all. This is actually, you know what? This is not Chicago. We're going to go to Chicago next. This is Indianapolis. Shout out to the chat and shout out to the people, including your car that sent this to me. Did you guys know, we only going to spend 10 minutes on this one. Did y'all know that over 15 people were shot in less than 24 hours in Indianapolis?
Okay, let's get back to your news headlines now. The big developing story, as we mentioned, 15 people have been shot since 3:30 yesterday morning. In the most recent shooting, 7 people shot, 2 of them killed. CBS 4's Russ McQuaid has more on where that investigation stands tonight and what an eyewitness saw happen.
There's not a lot going on out here in this parking lot just off of I-465 and West 38th Street on the northwest side, about 12 hours after somebody started firing off a gun in a parking lot full of people.
I woke up from that nap.
If you go to a place, hold on, because that's what it looked like in the daytime. Let's look at it. Panda. I'm looking at the plaza in the background. Panda. That's a Chinese restaurant. Obsession, hair and nails. Self-explanatory. I don't know what the rest of that is, but I see a vibes. Chances is, and I have not reviewed this video, I'm looking at it in real time. Chances are that vibes, people coming out of vibes, was possibly the place where everything went down.
He started firing off a gun in a parking lot full of people.
I woke up from that nap and just noticed the scene around me, and it was normal. Everybody's walking around.
I woke up from that nap.
Everybody's having a good time.
You mean you was homeless? What nap did you wake up from late at night inside of a parking lot outside of vibes? What? What you talking about? I woke up from that nap. Man, listen, bro. The clips be more hilarious than the actual incident itself. Let me see something, bro.
Firing off a gun in a parking lot full of people.
I woke up from that nap and just noticed the scene around me, and it was normal. Everybody's walking around. Everybody's having a good time, drinking, socializing. And then out of nowhere, rapid gunfire.
So, were you napping in the car or on the sidewalk? Just a question. Were you napping? Were you napping in the car or was it on the sidewalk? We'll get there. We'll get there.
Drinking, socializing, and then out of nowhere, rapid gunfire, nonstop.
That's crazy.
It's like the shots actually got faster.
Out of all the
Hey, it says Anton, it's around the corner from my house. Vibes as a bar, Midwest Fest car show. Listen, bro. I'm not going anywhere. If somebody invite me to an event, all right, just being objective. If somebody invite me to an event, they say, hey, man, pull up. You know what I'm saying? We going to be at the bar. And it ain't got no bars, bring your own bottles or whatever. It's places in the city in Detroit that I don't even go. If I'm talking to a girl and she says, yo, I went and hung out at this place or I went and hung out at that place. Do you know that that girl automatically, I tell my homeboy, yeah, that's not the one. That's not the one. I don't even like being around women that be outside like that. And when I say outside, I'm not saying outside touching grass. I'm saying outside in certain spots. There are certain spots in our city. Some of them little hood spots. Other ones a little bit more popular. If a girl says, yeah, I went to this spot or I went to that spot, she automatically is like, nope, not it. Nope, not it. It's a few of them. I'm not going to name the little hood spots because I'm not trying to mess up, you know what I'm saying, somebody's investment in their spots or whatever. I will tell you, one of the spots in Detroit, downtown Detroit, that if I hear a girl one of the spots that I see in downtown Detroit that if I see a girl or if I hear a girl is hanging out there and they go there like at bar time or whatever, some of y'all may know it, some of y'all may not. I know the majority of the people that's in here right now is not from Detroit, but Floods Bar and Grill. Floods Bar Grill. It's not a hood spot. It's right here in downtown Detroit, right by Greektown, Hollywood Casino, whatever. But I just be like, you know, because it's an older crowd, but they the same people that be there. The older dudes be in there trying to get mixy. The aunties be in there trying to get mixy. You see a chick, she says she about to go to Floods or she coming from Floods. Nah. You know Tamika. Look at them. Floods go crazy. Coco Princess, am I off? Nikki's is, hey, Bubbles, Nikki's is literally right up the street. Nikki's is only 2 blocks down. If I see a chick and she be like, yo, I was hanging out in floods or whatever, I'd be like, yeah, all right. You been to Floods Rocks? Nikki's Lounge? Yep. Yep. I can't do it, bro. And it ain't that Floods is a bad place or that they food not straight. It's really just being like, oh, nah, I feel like you for the streets. I feel like you for the streets. Views. Oh, man. Don't get me started, bro.
Homicides that have happened in Marion County so far this year, more than a quarter of them, 34, have happened between the hours of midnight and 6 a.m. For instance, downtown's a good example of that, where gunfire is not unheard of in the South Bar District on South Meridian Street after the bars closed. Also, that's where 2 juveniles were shot to death after midnight on 4th of July.
Most of this crowd does.
Relentless, I don't often agree with you, but you are 100% right. Same people who hung out in high school, still hanging out doing nothing. Doing nothing. I said, I can't, I'm not. Nope. And they go to meet up and link up with the same people that they was cool with in high school too.
Over here because of the scenery and their people come to the bar, and a lot of times they do choose to just be outside in the parking lot and hang out.
But it's also a responsibility as adults to make sure that we act as adults and do everything that we can to keep ourselves safe.
The final tally at 6800 Shore Terrace, 2 dead, 5 wounded. 2 of them either walked into a fire station or a hospital emergency room. All of them victims of a late night out outside a bar and a liquor store.
Walk away. Everything is not about your ego or how tough you may be or how tough you want to be.
I'm sorry, sir. You just said that you was sleeping at night and heard that. Don't worry about it. We'll get there.
It doesn't make sense for all this to keep happening so frequent in the city like it does. Sad to say, I did know one person, and I do feel sorry for his family because he was a good guy. He wasn't, a rowdy person. He wasn't angry or anything. He was very chill. He was positive, friendly.
There are more than a few surveillance cameras out here. Maybe one of them captured video of the shooting, the aftermath, or somebody fleeing the scene.
Yeah, man, it's not the play, bro. It's not the play. Indianapolis, I didn't even know that y'all was out here in the streets like that, bro. Real talk. I didn't even know that Indianapolis was in the streets. Like, I knew that because every city in the United States of America every major city in the United States of America has good parts and it has bad parts. It has good parts and it has bad parts, but I didn't know that Indianapolis was out here killing 15 people in one weekend or over 24 hours. I didn't know that they had 24 hours. You start seeing large gatherings inside of the parking lot and stuff like that. Nah, it's time to go. It's time to have a nice day. Time to get up out of there. Real talk. Not going to sit here and keep playing games. Not going to sit here and keep on going back and forth. Now it's time to go ahead and go and miss me with the nonsense. Thank y'all for sending me that article. We only going to spend 10 minutes on that. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as been to the top of the chat. Before I read Super Chat, let me ask y'all a question because we got over 2,000 people in here, over 2,500 people in here on YouTube alone. Let me ask y'all a question. When is it time to move? And maybe, how do y'all determine whether or not y'all gonna move to a new city? And when I say a new city, I mean like a new state. Because I almost believe that if you stay, there's reasons why it's necessary, in my opinion, to stay where you're from because, you know, you have a tie to it. You want to see it prosper. You don't want to be a brain drain meaning that you become successful and then you leave the city entirely, not just your neighborhood, but the city entirely, and then it becomes a brain drain. You go to the universities and then you go off to another place. How do y'all determine like when to uproot and leave and go to a different state? At what point outside of an economic opportunity? So you get a new job in a different state, or maybe you're in the military or something like that. How do y'all know when to move whole states? Because see, like somebody said, I left Memphis, but could you have went to Nashville? But why leave Memphis and go over to Texas, for example? It says school or work, opportunity, when there's rampant crime. I'm working on this question now. Because, like, I'll be thinking to myself a lot of times, like, the city is booming from an investment perspective, and I love it and stuff. But it's almost like, you know, you start to run into some of the same people. And once you get to certain places or up so far, the circles get smaller. You start knowing everybody that know everybody. And then eventually it starts to come. You know what I'm saying? Like, not even on like a problem that's with the city itself, but maybe the surroundings and the people or whatever. Like at some point, I don't know, man. San Diego just been calling my name and I don't know why. You moved to Arkansas, Mels? What's happening in Arkansas? What's going on in Arkansas? Keep me in the loop of what's happening in Arkansas. I need to know. Shout out to Bryant Smith, says they don't call them Indianimals for no reason. Jeez. They calling them Indianimals? Bryant Smith. Shout out to Bryant Smith. Shout out to Molly. Shout out to Mike, that dude. Shout out to David. Everybody that's supporting me on the platform. Weather is a very good reason. San Diego loves me. Eric D says the weather. San Diego. Whew. Y'all got me thinking. San Diego is expensive. You know, I don't think about it like that. I don't look at it from that lens. People say something is expensive. I say make more money. Because I'm committed to this lifestyle. I don't ask myself at some point, like once you get to a certain level in life, you don't say, well, you know, it's expensive. You say, well, does it make sense and how can I afford it? How can I put myself in a position to where it makes sense for me in my budget? And that way you get your gears turning because you just know, okay, well, listen, it's not about in the beginning, it's about cutting back when you need to get it together. Once you got motion, and it's about, okay, so how can I make this make sense from a financial perspective? Supreme by Nature TV says, as far as Ilhan specifically, a big part of her spirit is bothered by Charlie Kirk always proclaiming Christ. I could see that. Rodzilla Jones says 5 bodies found in Houston's bayou just this week. I heard about that too. I heard y'all said it's a serial killer over there in Houston. I'm going to cover that tomorrow. Make sure y'all remind me about that. George Everett says, when you get enough black folks together, this is what's going to happen. Shout out to Naptown. King Manasseh says, did you hear about the 4-year-old that got shot in Charlotte? I feel like moving should be considered if this persists. How's the politics over in Charlotte, though? I used to like Indianapolis. Nice convention town, all of that stuff. I thought that Indianapolis was a little bit different. No, Indianapolis ain't different. All right, y'all. We heading over to Chicago. Shut down. We heading over to Chicago, y'all. We got to go over to the Chi. Y'all. Chicago is in deep, deep, doo-doo. And so I'm only going to use one moment to have a conversation about Chicago, but Chicago is in deep, deep doo-doo. Okay? Why is Chicago in deep, 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 deep doo-doo? Because everything is starting to fall and everything is starting to crumble at the same time. It's all starting to crumble at the same time, y'all.
From budget troubles to safety concerns, CTA passengers sounded off at a town hall tonight. Our Jermont Terry is live with the problems the CTA is facing if funding does not come from Springfield. Jermont.
Erika, CTA says it's preparing for two budget scenarios, one with money it needs to keep services going, the other with a huge budget deficit. And if that money doesn't come in, not only will passengers see cuts in services, CTA says they could stop running at 9 p.m. nightly.
So the CTA, for those of you that are not familiar, I believe it's the Chicago Transit Authority, okay? It's the Chicago Transit Authority. It is the organization or the separate organization that is taxpayer funded and it is budgeted for, but it is basically a way for you to get back and forth to where you got to go through public transportation. And so it's all inclusive. All right. It's not just one thing. It's all inclusive, meaning that it's the trains, it's the buses, it's all included. All included. The CTA is the Chicago Transit Authority, Chicago Transit Authority.
With 1 million people riding the CTA by rail or buses daily, there's no doubt it is essential to Chicagoans.
I recently moved to Chicago, and one of the reasons was transit.
Will Filner is one of a dozens who packed Truman College to hear what CTA leaders are bracing for.
And a lot of the jobs that I'm applying to are not near me, so I take the L most of the time just to get to job interviews.
But services he depends on and more than 310 miles of CTA networks are on the verge of getting slashed if state dollars don't come in.
Illinois is dead last when it comes to funding transportation.
CTA warned those in this crowd the one-time COVID dollars are going away, and its funding gap is projected to get bigger each year starting in 2026. Adding operating hours would get cut drastically.
And if we are forced to cut hours, our service may start at 6 in the morning and end at 9 p.m.
Fewer routes and restricted hours leave many worried.
My concerns are very much, the fare going up or either cutting some lines, some buses or anything like that that I usually take.
Carlos Barrentos rides CTA both day and night. He showed up to hear CTA address safety too.
No, I don't feel safe. I'll be honest with you.
His concerns are heightened after Chicago police issued this community alert about a man who attacked two riders on the bus on the west side. And it comes after a 51-year-old CTA worker was pushed onto the tracks over Dearborn Street in the Loop on Tuesday.
I think that this is quite possibly, without even a shadow of a doubt, even worse than Los Angeles, even worse than Denver. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, gotta be the worst mayor of America. This has to be the worst mayor in the United States of America. And it's hard for me to really even hold them accountable because y'all voted them in. Y'all voted them in. Getting pushed onto the train tracks? Really? In Chicago? Funding problems for the CTA. They need $700+ million. Chicago ain't even the Windy City no more. It's the city of begging. Begging the federal government to send them some more money. Begging the state to send them some more money, but don't beg to actually help with the crime. Come on, bro. Y'all don't have public transportation running at times that it's supposed to run? Really? I seen Mugo the other day. Seen Mugo on is it CBS? Mugo got the heck up out of there. She was on CBS. She grinded, she hustled, she did her thing, and she got the heck up out of there. Dog, do y'all know how much money Chicago was asking for? Billions and billions of dollars from the federal government for the schools that are $734 million in deficit, for the city that is $1.2 billion in a projected deficit, for the CTA and Chicago Transit Authority. The three pillars. What did I tell y'all was the three pillars? I ain't going to keep telling y'all because I might have to stay in the city and run for mayor, but what's the three pillars? Public safety. That means that the citizens have to be and feel safe. Public transportation. They have to be able to get to and from where they need to go, and that is a part of your economic plan. Education. If the schools are not fully funded and if people don't feel like their children are getting a quality education, then you fail. All three of those things are at the forefront of not only budget deficits, but safety problems and issues within Chicago. You got it, Wayne. Safety, transportation, and education. Those are the three pillars for success in any city. And then obviously you have subgenres or subtopics that you need to address, like the business community, lowering taxes, but all of that is on the backbone of those three pillars. And if people don't have those three pillars, then you got to feel safe, got to be able to get around, good public transportation, and you got to have a decent education system. If it's a bad place for you to raise a family in, it goes. It's horrible. You don't need subsidized community stores, community groups. All of that junk is fraud. All of it is fraud. All of it is theft. They got the highest taxes in the Midwest. They got the highest property taxes. It's just bad. It's bad, bro.
As CTA advocates for money, the acting president insisting security is just as high, touting the new CPD CTA Support Center.
And this has access to CTA cameras. It's staffed with police, with detectives, and it creates a really heightened awareness and observation from the police.
And you know what the worst part about this is? It's just to think that they spent hundreds, and I mean hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars in illegal migrants. They spent so much money on illegal migrants, it's crazy. It's crazy. Illegal migrants.
Now, as CTA calls on state funding for the fall session, CTA passengers, they want to feel safe now and not worry about the potential cuts that could come if the money doesn't come in. CTA will hold its final town hall next Thursday at Malcolm X College.
Mayor Mohawk. Oh, okay, I got you. That's a troll account. Yo, what do y'all be doing? Like, y'all don't be having, like, all right. We're going to continue in this conversation with Chicago. But, like, when y'all go out and y'all get different profile pictures and y'all create different new accounts, as a 40-plus-year-old man, I don't have time to do stuff like that. I did in your car. I don't have time for stuff like that. Like, I'm a grown man. I don't have time to go on the internet and search for a photo of Brandon Johnson and then create a troll account. Like, and then don't get me wrong. Like, you know, have fun on the internet and do whatever it is that y'all do. But y'all be having time for that?
The U.S. Transportation Secretary.
I'm not timing nobody out just because they got a different profile photo. Like, do your thing. I just don't understand it.
Is calling out the CTA today, demanding immediate action to keep workers and riders safe.
He points to a report by our investigator, Tara Molina, about violence on the CTA. She's live for us now outside CTA headquarters. And Tara, you spoke with a top federal transit administrator today. What did they tell you?
Remington says Detroiters don't like Chicago because our city is better. I never knew that we didn't like Chicago. I don't like your politicians. You've been running a budget deficit. Y'all don't even own y'all streets, and y'all been running a budget deficit since 2013. We've had 11 consecutive years of a budget surplus. This year, y'all got a projected budget deficit of $1.2 billion. We got a surplus of $60 million. That means we're in the green. That means we got balanced budgets. We've had consecutive balanced budgets, surpluses every year for the last 11 years. Why would I want to go? Bruh. Do y'all know how much y'all property taxes are there? Okay.
That's right, Marie and Erika. He says it's time to address the safety concerns and security concerns plaguing our transit system and the violent crimes that we've reported on here recently. No one from the CTA was available to go on camera to address this with us today. You're looking at the letter the Secretary of Transportation sent the acting president of the Chicago Transit Authority, calling for the agency to address safety immediately. This
Hold on. Let me see something. Yeah, she is bad. I ain't gonna lie. I wasn't even paying attention to that. Y'all the ones that decided to put that inside of the chat. And so now I'm like, yeah, Tara Molina, she nice. I ain't gonna cap. She's very, very nice looking. Shout out to Tara Molina.
Looking at the letter the Secretary of Transportation sent the acting president of the Chicago Transit Authority, calling for the agency to address safety immediately. This release from the U.S. Department of Transportation citing my recent reporting.
It's a continuing cycle.
The 70-year-old CTA worker attacked and thrown on the tracks last month. We just told you about 2 more workers attacked in the last week.
You're reporting critical to really shining a light.
Mark Molinaro is the federal transit administrator.
Chicago, as it relates to public safety, the Chicago system is failing. 1 in 5 Chicago citizens feel that using public transit isn't safe.
He says their team has tracked a 10-year increase in crime on transit systems, including ours. So we took a look ourselves. And while we've seen a decline in violent crime since it peaked in 2019, there's been a steady increase since 2015. Molinaro telling me that letter we showed you earlier, it gives the CTA 2 weeks to get the Federal Transit Administration, quote, CTA actions and plans to reduce crime and fare evasion on the transit system, and CTA funds from all sources that are programmed to improve the security of passengers and workers. Going on to say federal funding could be redirected or withheld if prompt attention isn't given. And
so now you guys have to address the crime that is happening, not only in Chicago, but from the Chicago Transit Authority and what's happening on the trains and the buses. And if you don't address it, then they are also threatening to pull additional funding from the federal government in order to get yourselves together. This is what Brandon Johnson had to say.
When my colleague asked Mayor Brandon Johnson if he had a response to this letter today,
no, I do not.
Worst mayor in America. Worst mayor in America by a long shot. And when I say a long shot, I mean a long shot. Is there a worse mayor in America? Maybe LaToya Cantrell down in New Orleans or something like that? Thank you, Platinum Storm X Prophetess. I appreciate you. Chicago was on a pathway to bankruptcy, man. Everything in every situation in Chicago is going negative. And you know what he said over the weekend? He said, Chicago doesn't have a spending problem. It has an income problem. So you have a dwindling population, revenues are going down, millionaires are moving out, businesses is closing, and you decide that you want to actually raise taxes and then take away from the funding and the police in order to keep the community safe. Brandon Johnson, ladies and gentlemen. Brandon Johnson. I don't think that Trump should go in there. I don't think that, no. Let's be clear. I don't believe that Trump should go into Chicago at all. I think that Trump should let Chicago have itself. I don't think that Trump should go to Chicago. They said that they don't want Trump. No, don't come here. We don't want you. The people, the mayor, they all followed behind the mayor and they said that they don't want Trump. The people that's not even in Chicago that don't want the best for y'all, the pundits, the MSNBCs, and they grill people when Trump comes and stop crime. Nobody wants him. I don't think that they should give him. I think that they should just let him be. Let him rock out. Let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to go over to, we got to get to the money. We got a couple of situations that we want to talk about when it comes to the money. The H-1B visa situation and people leaving Manhattan, millionaires, for greener pastures. Equal Opportunity Smoke says all the money went to illegals and corruption. That's where all money goes. That's for politicians. I bet Mayor Mohawk net worth up 500%. James Roberts, James Roberts says, hey, Anton, I would advise you to speak with Chad O. Jackson regarding MLK Jr. He's doing a documentary about him. Chad was involved in the Uncle Tom documentary along with Larry Elder. I appreciate you. Thank you for letting me know that. Do the right thing. Do the right thing. Frohawk not in a position to have a response. Thank you, Do the Right Thing. I appreciate you for supporting the platform. All right, y'all, let's pivot for a second. Let's go over to Trump talking about the H-1B visa situation.
A major focus of your administration has been shifting the...
Y'all know what an H-1B visa is? So H-1B visa is basically an authorization from the company to bring in somebody that is not here from the United States of America to work here in the United States of America. So if you work in information technology at any university, at any bank, at any tech company, if you work in a hospital, it is a strong possibility that you have and or worked with somebody that has an H-1B visa. And it usually costs about $1,000 for them to get somebody over here. Now, a lot of times they often, pay them a lower wage. Significantly lower. And so the company's justification for it is to say, well, we need talent. We need the right people to be able to develop the right things and the technologies and work in the hospitals in order for us to be solvent. That is the logic behind it. And what it does is it also destroys the American economy, in my opinion. Because you have people here on work visas. And I'm not saying that people can't and shouldn't be here, especially if you are the best and the brightest and the most talented. But what it does is it takes away from American jobs. So you see all of these people and they on planes or whatever. I actually seen some footage of people not wanting to get off the plane, and they had already got on the plane to go to India, and they got off the plane for fear that they wouldn't be able to get back here in the United States of America. I'll find that for you.
Conversation and shifting the policy dynamics around the issue of immigration, closing the border, preventing illegal immigration, but also, as is the case with the executive order in front of you, opening new pathways for truly extraordinary people to come contribute to America instead of taking away from it. So this executive order is entitled the Gold Card. It will set up a new pathway, a new visa pathway for foreigners of extraordinary ability who are committed to supporting the United States for a payment of $1 million to the U.S. Treasury, or if a corporation is sponsoring them, $2 million by that corporation, and that will give them access to expedited visa treatment as part of this new Gold Card program.
And one of the biggest problems we have is that people, they go to the best schools and they do great and they get great marks, and then they're thrown out of the country. You're not allowed to stay. This way, a corporation will be able, sort of like a signing bonus in baseball or football, a corporation will be able to get them to stay in the country. And I think it's going to be tremendously successful. Howard, would you say a few words about it, please?
Sure. Well, we gonna get there. So, let's hear what Howard has to say.
So historically, the employment-based green card program let in 281,000 people a year.
What up,
and
David?
those people, on average, earned $66,000 a year on average, and they were 5 times more likely to go on assistance programs of the government. So we were taking in the bottom quartile, below the average American. It was illogical. The only country in the world that was taking in the bottom quartile. So what we are doing now is we are going to stop doing that. We're going to only take extraordinary people at the very top. Instead of people trying to take the jobs from Americans, they're going to create businesses and create jobs for Americans. And this program will raise more than $100 billion for the Treasury of the United States of America.
Which we'll use for cutting taxes and paying down debt.
So this is the general idea. All right, I'm gonna break it down from a C student's perspective. This is what's happening. You see a lot of people coming here from other countries, and they are here on work visas. A lot of times they are getting sponsored by a company. That sponsorship has been fairly cheap up till now, and the tech companies have been advocated for it. As a matter of fact, one of the things that the Trump administration caught a lot of flack for was the fact that he was not addressing people coming over here on work visas, while at the same time saying that Americans need jobs. We are investing in America and American infrastructure. And why are we allowing for them to come over here and do these jobs instead of spending more time nurturing American workers to do the same jobs? Right? And I believe that Elon Musk was one of the people that was like, well, we still need the visa program, so on and so forth. So what Trump did is he said, listen, if these companies love these workers so much, and I'm assuming that this is a conversation that he had with all of the tech bosses over dinner and stuff because he'd been courting them a lot. And he said, listen, well, if these companies love these workers so much, then they're going to have to pay $100,000 a year per worker in order to get them here. And that's the fee, not including the salary that they would have to pay them on top of the fee to have them here in the United States of America. So what you see happening was at this announcement, which was not expected, this is an Emirates flight, which was delayed by 3 hours because it was going to India. And the Indian people that had boarded this flight here in the United States of America from San Francisco and had already boarded, they getting the heck off the flight.
That's the captain speaking. Due to the current circumstances, obviously, that are unprecedented for us here at Emirates, we are aware that a number of passengers do not wish to travel with us, and that's perfectly fine. All we ask is that if you wish to offload yourself, you do so.
So a lot of the Indian people on these flights were deplaning because they did not know if they would be able to get back here in the United States of America. Let me say that again. The Indian people that were on this flight, they had already boarded the plane, and they were deplaning because they were not sure if they would be able to get back on the flight. And the flight was delayed over 3 hours because of it. And that should tell you the value. I don't really think we know or really understand exactly how valuable it is to hit the lottery and basically be born here inside of the United States of America. If you did, you would truly take advantage of it. If you did, you would really put your all into what you do on a regular basis. We do not really understand how valuable it is to be born on American soil, and we take it for granted every day. I just can't, I don't understand why people take that for granted every day. The greatest blessing is to be born right here in the United States of America. I don't care what city you were born in. You have the opportunity. No, let me add something in there. The greatest blessing ever, one of the greatest blessings ever, because, being saved, sanctified, and all of that stuff, we know that. So that goes without a doubt. But one of the greatest blessings ever is to be born in the United States of America. And this time, you wasn't even born during slavery time. You wasn't born during the Indian time. You wasn't born none of that. You are born right here. And that's why it's so difficult for me to make sense of people complaining about what their lot is in life. And it's like, listen, I know he got it. I know they were born in generational wealth, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Same things. But bro, you got the opportunity to get it. You literally have the opportunity to get it in the technology era, and it ain't no racism that is affecting you that will stop you from being able to do the thing that you want to do. And you go out there and you kill people, you have self-inflicted wounds, you rob, you scam, you go to jail, get out, get another opportunity. Go to jail, get out, get another opportunity. You never change your life. You have multiple baby mamas. You finance the whole earth, and then you can't pay it back. Get your house taken, repossess, all of this stuff. Bruh. You got the opportunity of a lifetime, and you're complaining? People were clamoring, killing themselves to come over here in migrant caravans, wishing that they can come up here. And you are sitting there wasting time talking about what you don't have instead of playing the hand that you was dealt and winning. No World War I or II time, facts. No Vietnam time, facts. No slavery time, facts. You are literally in the most prosperous country in the world, and you're sitting there whining and complaining while at the same time doing what you want to do and still doing dumb stuff every day. Jesus Christ. Bro, you can go broke here, get it back, file for bankruptcy, get it back, have to learn lesson, and still have the time of your life and run it up. It's weird to me, bro.
We think it's going to be very successful. Essentially, we're having people come in, people that in many cases, I guess, are very successful or whatever, and they're coming in, they're going to spend a lot of money to come in. They're going to pay as opposed to walking over the borders, and they may come from jails, prisons, and everything else. These people don't. They're very productive people, and they're going to pay $1 million. The corporation's going to pay $2 million, and it's going to raise billions and billions of dollars, which is going to go.
And then you got the dude that was at the very beginning of the show that was like, I don't like it. I want to. For some of y'all might not have been here in the beginning of the show. Let me remind y'all of what happened in the beginning of the show really quickly. Just real quick, just a quick reminder.
I no longer want to be alive. This is not a ploy. This is not a hook. This is not anything for entertainment purposes. I do not want to be on this planet anymore. I'm tired. Gas is high. We could barely afford groceries. We could barely afford rent. Why do I need to make 3 times the rent when there is no job out there paying me 3 times the rent? And
So, Bonnet Bay is on here complaining. I don't look at it that way. I look at it a little bit differently.
Reduce taxes, pay off debt, and other good things. So I think it's going to be very successful.
Are the big techs on board with this, Mr. President?
What?
The big techs, are the big techs on board with this decision? You just
what's going to? I wish you'd speak more clearly. I really do. Give it to me again.
Are the big techs, the CEOs, on board with this decision?
Big tech?
Big tech. Did you talk to them about this?
Yeah, big tech. Yeah, it's big tech. It's every company. It's big tech. It's big tech. It's big everything. Okay?
The CEOs
it's a company.
Let me go over to CNBC and their evaluation of this whole situation, and let's look at it from a financial perspective, and then we're going to go over to the millionaires in New York.
Meantime, we're watching shares of big tech this morning. Here's what's going on. Major companies rushing
and this
now.
Is this today? I think this might be today.
Responded after President Trump announced plans late last week to impose a $100,000 fee on H-1B visas. These are used by corporations to bring highly skilled workers into the U.S. Some tech companies and banks scrambling over the weekend as a result of it. They're warning employees not to leave the United States or quickly return from overseas. Nobody seems to know what would happen to them. A White House official clarifying over the weekend that a one-time fee would only now apply to new H-1B applicants. That didn't stop all of the emails, not renewals or current visa holders, and won't apply to those granted visas back in 2025. Now, Amazon employs the most H-1B holders, more than 14,000. That's as of June.
That's a lot of workers. Let me tell you something. That's a lot of workers. 14,000 workers Amazon is employing.
And it's creating a lot of consternation about whether this is the right policy. There's some.
Toy, you're right. You said also might help you know Black and brown communities to start choosing careers in tech. They should have been doing that anyway. I've been telling people for the longest, stop going with underwater basket weaving degrees.
Coming out saying this is great. If you're a big tech company, this is not a bad outcome because you can afford to spend the $100,000. If you're a small startup or you're running a science lab and you don't have that kind of money, but you really want to be able to attract some of the smartest people from around the world, it's a whole lot more of a complicated scenario.
Is this a situation where they're trying to add additional pressure on India for the trade negotiations, or is this a situation where they're saying, look, you are keeping down market rates for what you would pay people because you're bringing people from overseas versus what you would pay wages here?
The unintended consequences could be huge, but at face value, Trump wants companies to hire American workers. Yeah. And I don't know what the number of, I don't know if apparently there's, in his view or the administration's view, the system is being gamed. And it's not just highly skilled workers that are being hired. He thinks that they're trying to get, trying to pay much lower wages to foreign workers. And it's, it's sort of more of that overall problem. Also, sometimes I wonder why certain people wouldn't like this, because it is a revenue generator. It's going to cost companies money. It's $100,000. The companies pay it. The administration says it could be billions of dollars. It's another way of, very successful tech companies. A lot of people would certainly like to tax the profits of tech companies. This is a way of getting at some of it, and maybe
increasing wages
in a simplistic way. Having more Americans being hired.
It's the equivalent of a tariff being put on the labor market.
Exactly. And trying once again to do the, I don't know if it works. I don't know how much the system is gamed. I'd like to know that. I'd like to know how much tech companies use to try to hold down labor costs with not highly skilled workers.
I just think there's two thoughts. We've all talked about wanting to, I think, staple a green card to a diploma. So folks who come to this country, who learn in this country, I would like to see them have the opportunity, if they could, to work here. Two is, the truth is, and you go back and look at Google. Google's the prime example of, there's a startup. It's a big company today, but it was a startup at one point. It's not clear you would have been able to have said startup in the United States.
Listen, bro. Listen. Hire American workers. Hire American workers. I'm not going to sit here and defend the big tech companies. Then we need to start sponsoring. They need to be on college campuses. They need to be giving scholarships to people. They need to be working within certain communities. They need to be investing in promoting for people to take up certain curriculums. They need to be inside of the high schools. They need to be doing their job on trying to find the right workers the same way that they nurture and they mature certain markets as outside of the United States of America. Listen, I am a capitalist, but at the same time, I believe that we got to play the game fair. And I also believe that we need to support Americans and American workers. And when I see people coming over here, and don't get me wrong, I'm cool with H-1B visas, but you just going to have to be that nickel. You're going to have to be him. You're going to have to be him. It just is what it is. You got to be him. No handouts. You got to be him. I remember second time around when they recruited me and it was like, yo, Anton, we want you to come back to corporate America, but we want you to work for this company, whatever. And I said a number and the number was outrageous. Y'all seen my checks. Y'all seen my stubs inside of the page. For those OG Patreon members, I used to be showing y'all my check stubs, what I made in a quarter, the first quarter and all of that stuff. I showed y'all that and y'all was like, I want to see it, and I showed it to you. And so you got to see it for yourself. You got to see it for yourself. And I said a crazy number. And at first they was like, And we went back and forth and I said, listen, bro, this is what it is. This is what we rocking with. Either take it or leave it because I don't really need it. And they paid it. And here's the key. Because a lot of people don't understand what really happens inside of corporate America is that they have executive recruiters, right? And so the executive recruiter actually charged a fee on top of what I paid or what they had to pay me. And so they had to take a risk. And so eventually they said that the risk was worth it. They got their money. They definitely got their money's worth out of me. Because I gave them what they wanted. I delivered. And everybody was happy. But you got to you taking a risk. You taking a risk. And so if they want to get that, if they feel like Akbar or whatever their name is or whatever is worth it, and they that great, they that much greater than the American worker, because a lot of times they come over here and they get information, they learn on the job, they learn at these universities, they get recruited to play in our spaces, and then they take the technology home and then they go and develop their own stuff at the crib. They take it back home and they do their thing back there. Invest in American workers and we ain't gonna have no problems. Let me read some of these super chats and then we're going to go over to the final part of the show. We've been cooking. We working today. We're going to get that full 3 hours in, ain't we? Ike says, a man without a focused life will drive him insane. Facts. You don't even feel like you really figuring out what your purpose is. Lulu Francesca says, Anton, can you let us know, one, when you're hiring people for your campaign? I'm willing to move from corrupt Chicago. Yeah, it's going to be a minute, though. I got you, big dog. Thank you. Also says you have many of us that will support you. Oh, by the time that if I wind up deciding that I'm really going to do it, I'm going to have so many people that's on the sidelines. Buddy 305 Love says this shows that Trump is the ultimate bag chaser. Facts. Shout out to Buddy 305 Love in the building. I want to tackle one more subject before we get up out of here. And it's, something that somebody sent me over the weekend, and it was an analysis by Fox Business that people in New York were actually leaving the Big Apple and running down south because of the possibility of electing this new mayor, because the taxes is so high, and because of bad fiscal policy that is happening in New York, and they don't feel like it's worth it anymore. They saying millionaires are running from high taxes and they are absolutely getting out of there and going south. Check it out.
Escape from New York, the tax base has been fleeing the Empire State. And that was before a socialist was the front runner to be mayor of its biggest city. The top 1% pays.
Imagine a socialist. Democrats are so dumb, bro. Democrats are so stupid that they are getting behind anybody. They are literally getting behind anybody that they think got some motion because they have nothing. They have nothing and nobody. Nothing. They have no movement whatsoever. So they basically go into the Democratic strongholds and they're getting behind the worst of the worst. I have never seen so many socialists, people that actually label themselves socialists. It's people that pretend like they socialists in order to be able to get certain votes. But ultimately, they're capitalists, and you can tell by their net worth. But socialism is starting to become the theme of the Democratic Party, including over in Minneapolis, the Somalian guy that's trying to become the new mayor of Minneapolis is have a socialist campaign. Mom Donnie over in New York. He has motion because the young people are behind him because we need lower groceries and cheaper rent, and we need more subsidized rent and cheap housing. Socialist movement. I agree, Eric D. I think that a flat tax is the move. Flat tax need to just be to where it's at everywhere. Everybody needs to pay a certain percentage, and then that would just take off inside of the United States of America.
Is more than 40% of all income taxes in New York. That means social services, benefits, healthcare, education. Well, those people are packing their bags and they're moving south. The numbers just don't lie. Over 125,000 New Yorkers moved to Florida alone, and with them went a combined $14 billion in income. That's a big.
How can you not be sounding the alarm? Man, listen, bro. Y'all seen the phone call that I got earlier from the people in my building? Y'all know I've been complaining about my view. Hey, man, my view is not looking the way that it's supposed to look. Is there something else that I could do? I want to stay in the penthouse, and I want to say, oh, you know what? They'll move hell and high water. They'll put together 2 units, 3 units to build a custom penthouse for you in order to get you to still stay in that building. Bruh, if you talking about $14 billion worth of income, this is not net worth, income. This means money generated that you pay taxes on. Money generated that you pay taxes on. 125,000 people. Boy, they should have been on their knees in New York. They should have had every single governor, the mayor, the legislators, the base, the Democrats. They should have been on their knees making it right. They should have been on their knees trying to make up for it. Hey, phone calls, text benefits. Hey, listen. No. We want you to stay here in New York. Listen, what is it that we need to do in order to keep you? You do know that people that is the highest earning income, they pay somewhere between 35 and 55% of all taxes in your state, in your city, right? Listen. I know y'all hate rich people. A lot of people hate rich people. They pay somewhere between 35, depending on the state, depending on the city. They pay between 35 and 55% of all the taxes of the people that are in your city. I know you think you doing it. I know you think you getting to it. I know you think, oh man, they took some money out of my check. Bruh.
Ouch right there, Gary. Do you think that the flow of people down south to southern states like beautiful Florida, is that going to stop when Mamdani's elected?
Let me just state, if able, business people and capital will flock to where it's treated best. And all I can tell you, in my city in Florida, you have stores, restaurants, schools, hospitals, you name it, going up because people keep coming in, and they are coming from New York and other states, the blue states that continue to disrespect the taxpayer with high taxes and ridiculous regulations, fees, fines, mandates, you name it. And it is stunning to me, after we have these statistics already, that the voters in New York would vote. This man's, I wish he was a socialist. He makes the socialist look like a Republican. That's how bad he is. And unfortunately, he's not even hiding it. When he says the means of production, that is right out of the Marx booklet. And it is going to be bad news if he follows suit. And I am heartbroken for this city, because I can promise you the tax base is going to be running out of here.
Yeah. Can I just cascades on itself? This started during COVID. Bad policies drove people out. And I always say the people who came back after COVID are not the same demographic. They're your Mandami voters. I was just walking around yesterday and thinking that all the things I loved about the city had changed so much. Not just, we talk about the crime issues every day, we talk about the taxes, but for me personally, I used to love staying in the city on a weekend to go have great brunches at crowded spots where you would run into friends or walking through the park. None of my friends are here anymore.
Of course,
Nobody's
I've
here.
been correct on the markets all year long. Got flavor. Oh, you talking about him? Are you talking about the guy on there? You talking about me? I've been on it. I've been on it. I think we got Stock Club this week. Is it Stock Club or is it content creation, or is it something else? I don't know. I'm gonna get y'all updated soon.
Walk around. You're here, thank God. But nobody else is. And so when I walk around neighborhoods that I used to love to just, shop and stop for this or stop for that, it feels so different that all of this that I'm paying for, I'm not really getting the same enjoyment out of it. And now I fly away, with my feet, or literally fly on the weekends because I don't want to be here.
Which raises the question again, why did Kathy Hochul, governor of New York, endorse Mamdani? She has said she doesn't agree with him on his tax policies, that he wants to hike taxes on New Yorkers, but she must see the same data that we just talked about too, and knows that her tax base is leaving the city as tax.
Most politicians have no skin in the game, and so is self-preservation, and that's what makes politics so bad. CEOs of a company, you guys know this, I've been talking about this for a long time. Their compensation is directly reflected in what happens at the company. And so you are incentivized to do the best thing for the company because that affects your bonus, that affects your stock options, and more importantly, you're incentivized to do the best thing for the company long term because you can't even move any of your shares until a certain amount of time, and they want to make sure that when you get these shares, they are vested, and then you can move them after so many years because that means you did the right thing and that the decisions that you made today is going to pay off long term. So they are incentivized to do the right thing for the company. Politicians are incentivized to keep their seat. That's it. They don't have no skin in the game. They get paid no matter what. They can't be removed. You got to move hell and high water in order to be able to get them out of there. Brandon Johnson is going to be there for what, another 2 years minimum? He just recently got elected. Brandon Johnson been kicking y'all butt over there in Chicago. Got y'all in a chokehold with a tie around your neck at the same time. Kicking y'all tail while at the same time talking about the archdiocese. Karen Baston had LA in a chokehold. Oh my God. Been whooping on LA all year long. All last year. All the year before. Karen Bass has had LA. Gavin Newsom got California in the finger four leg lock. Got California on their hands and knees. Y'all in California, the people in the blue cities that continue to vote for Gavin Newsom, y'all ain't nothing but abuse victims. People in California, you're the woman that keep getting hands put on her and everybody in the family like, yeah, okay, we already know now. Because you don't feel like they love you until they abuse you. Unless they abuse you, you want everything. You want illegal activity, illegal migrants, high taxes. You want deficits, sad shows. Y'all want fires, burn your house down. What else do they got to do to y'all in California for you to realize, you know what? We need to switch back over to red. They burned your house down, took your cars, raised your taxes, gave you no water, put you on water restrictions. And then let the hood move in next to you. And then charged $1 million for the houses next door that look like a little shack. Got y'all in a finger four leg lock.
taxes are going up. And he wants to just hike them even further, impose a 2% income tax on new Big Apple residents making more than $1 million a year. He wants to raise the corporate tax, too, to match something like New Jersey, which that's a whole separate topic. We know that's not good.
Yeah.
Why, Brianna, would she endorse him if she says she doesn't like his tax policies, and we can assume she knows what that's doing to the state?
Because Kathy Hochul is the worst governor in America, and I don't say that lightly. That being said, it gives...
I don't know. Gavin Newsom. He like, wait a minute, don't forget about me, boss.
Gavin Newsom is definitely neck and neck on this one, but Kathy Hochul legitimately hates everything America stands for. And it does give Elise Stefanik a little bit of a boost, obviously, going into this gubernatorial race. Back to the wealth flight. Mamdani is following a very similar playbook to what happened to New York in the 1960s and the 1970s, right? You go back to Mayor John Lindsay. He expanded welfare programs. He hiked the tax rate up. And wealthy New Yorkers saw tax rates, they saw fiscal irresponsibility, and they did see crime, and they left. And by 1975, New York City was bankrupt. It took a long time to get New York City back to where it is, at least right now. So the fact that Mamdani now wants to almost not only double down on those policies, but actually expand on the things that cause the problems should be a warning sign to anyone in New York with money or sensibilities to get out now.
And there's more to it than the economy. If you just watch what he says on criminals and jails, it is... When I travel the subways now, there's a lot of police officers there, and you know what's happened now? There's less crime because of that. And now he wants to go the opposite route. And the number one job of any leader of any community, state, or country is to protect the citizenry. How do you protect the citizenry? You make sure you have enough people out there that protects them, number one. And if you do the crime, you are going to do the time. And he is the opposite of both that. And it's stunning that anybody who has families here would vote for this type of crazy.
Brian, we are hearing some...
Yeah, it's bad. It's very, very bad. So if you are in a lot of these states that are high taxed, and then you have a potential socialist that is going to come in and run y'all state for y'all, I suggest that y'all be very, very careful, very, very vigilant, and then possibly look at the possibility of maybe uprooting and going somewhere else for greener pastures. But just don't take your voting ways with you, because that's the reason why y'all in this in the first place. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. We got a really good live stream that's going to be coming up this week. Jason Sharp says, I think you should drop that big AD chain with that iced out ant piece. You want me to get the ant piece on it? All right, I'm going to work on that. I got you, Jason Sharp. Y'all want me to get an ant? The ant logo? I don't know. It'd have to be a dope ant logo. Five Brown. My dog Five Brown says facts AD. The top 1% pay 40% of all of the federal taxes. 10%, top 10% pay 72% of all federal taxes. And the top 50% of earners pay 97% of... That means we basically subsidizing everybody else's lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? But that bottom 50% who pay little to no taxes want to make the rules on who pays what in taxes. Talk to him, Five Brown. My dog. It's been a great show today. We covered a lot. We had great conversations. We got the Q show tonight. And I'm looking forward to kicking it with y'all on the panel tonight with my girl Q. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are the greatest audience on earth. Thank you for continuing to hold me down and rocking out with me. I'm going to holler at you guys later. Peace.